Hey, good morning from Thailand, everybody. This is a live stream, so we've got a live studio audience here. But for replay value, I'm going to jump right into the topic of this video, Thailand pros and cons. And once I get through that, we'll jump into the questions. So there's a good replay value to this video. Plus, everyone's probably going to be shuffling in here since this is kind of an impromptu live stream. If you enjoy these type of live streams where I talk about specific topics and then go into questions, make sure you let me know down in the comments below and smash that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Helps more people find the live stream, which really helps me out with something impromptu like this. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of my background. So I spent 20 years in the military in the U.S. Navy, and I visited Thailand a lot during that time, but it was for brief periods of time. I started coming to Thailand in 1998, so I've been coming to Thailand for decades. In July, I got a Thai Elite visa, the 5-year, but I am going to extend it to 20-year. And I kind of, I guess, moved here in July. I didn't plan on staying in Thailand full time, but it just became too hard to travel outside of the country. So I've been living here nonstop for a little bit over 6 months. So that's what I'm basing these pros and cons on. My time that I visited Thailand over the years since 1998 and my time living in here for the last 6 months as an expat. So that gives you kind of my frame of reference. Now, these are my pros and cons. Yours might be different, and that's fine. And if you don't agree with some of mine, comment down below why you don't agree. And if I missed some, comment down below what I missed. All right, so we're going to go back and forth. We're going to go pro and then con, so it's not all negative at the end. All right, so the number one pro to Thailand for me is the people. And I know that's really a cliche thing to say, but honestly, unless you've been to Thailand and spent a little bit of time here, you're not going to understand. But the Thai people are so friendly and they're just really, really welcoming. If you ever watched the movie, I think it's called Impossible. It's the Ewan McGregor movie where his family gets swept away by separated and swept away by the tsunami that came through here and their struggle to find each other. It's based on a true story. It's a pretty good movie. But that movie kind of shows you the kindness and generosity of Thai people. A lot of people, sometimes people will say that the Thai welcoming nature is not genuine, but I haven't found that to be the case. I found it to be actually very genuine, and Thai people have always been super friendly to me, super helpful, and interested in my culture. And I've been interested in their culture. It's always been a great interaction for me over the years that I've been coming here. Okay, so that's my first pro. So my first con is the weather. So the weather is a pro and a con, I think. But when you live here long term, it's more, I think it's more of a con. So if you come here on vacation, you probably love it. It's nice and warm. You're probably coming from somewhere in the United States that's cold, or England, or somewhere that's cold, right? And you get here and it's always sunny. It's nice. You're probably near the beach most likely, and you love the weather. But when you stay here a little bit longer, you realize that weather is the weather all the time. It's always hot and muggy. It's almost always humid. If it's not humid, the heat is unbearable. So I guess you'd rather have the humidity, but when you have the humidity, you are constantly sweaty. I always wear black shirts, if you haven't noticed, and that's because black shirts don't show sweat. When I wear any other color but black in Thailand and I step outside, within 5 minutes, you'll see sweat stains all over my shirt. And so I don't wear anything else but black because I don't want to, have sweat stains everywhere. And so that's one of the cons. Another thing I get a lot, for those of you that have followed me for a while, I lived in an RV for a year and traveled around the U.S. And a lot of people are like, hey, why don't you travel around Thailand in an RV? The problem with that is that heat and humidity. And if you've ever traveled around in an RV in the middle of the summer down in the Everglades in Florida, that's what traveling around Thailand would be like in an RV. It would be constantly muggy and sweaty. Nothing is worse in an RV than heat and humidity. That makes your trip miserable. And Thailand is almost always very, very humid. So it'd be like traveling through the Florida Everglades in July in your RV, which nobody does. People go down in the Florida Everglades in the winter. They don't go down there in the summer in their RV. So that would be my number one con. All right. So my next pro for Thailand is the cost of living. So as a Westerner, I've been traveling the world as a nomad for 3 years now, 1 year in an RV, but 2 years traveling internationally. And I've kind of become fascinated and obsessed with earning money in US dollar, but spending it in another currency. And I found some really great countries to have that location arbitrage where you're earning in a stronger currency and spending in a weaker currency. Places like Hungary, places like Vietnam, places like Bali, places like Bulgaria, Ukraine. Prayers to the Ukrainian people, by the way. And maybe we'll talk about that a little bit more in the live chat. But anyway, but no place for me beats Thailand in the level of living you get for the cost. There are definitely places that are cheaper than Thailand, but for what you get overall in Thailand, I don't think you can beat the cost. The safety, the friendliness of the people, the quality of the internet, the quality of life, the different types of environments you can live in. You can live in the beach. You can live in a metropolitan city like Bangkok. You can live in the country. You can live in the mountains. You can, it just has so much to offer for the price. And no matter which of those you go to, you can find affordable prices. You can live, I had that beachfront condo I lived in Jam Tien. It was a little bit over $400 a month. You'll see me next month living in another one with an amazing view for $600 a month. But you can also, pay considerably less than that as well. So for me, for the price you pay in Thailand, you can't beat it. I don't think there's anywhere that compares to Thailand with the quality of life for the cost. There are places that are cheaper. There are places with maybe a higher quality of life, but the balance of the two, I just don't think you can beat it. All right. So what's another con of Thailand? So the bad traffic, especially in urban areas like Chiang Mai, the traffic can be bad. In Bangkok, the traffic is pretty ridiculous. Even during the pandemic, it's pretty ridiculous. Between 5 and 7 in Bangkok, don't take a taxi or don't drive your car anywhere. It's like LA traffic, but maybe even worse and definitely more dangerous, which we'll probably talk about as a con soon. But yeah, definitely I would say the traffic. Now, the silver lining is when you're in a place like Bangkok, they have amazing public transportation. The BTS and MRT there are almost as good as it gets. The only other places I think that are better public transportation wise are Japan and Singapore. But when you're in Bangkok, the public transportation is amazing. Outside of Bangkok, it's hit or miss. Like in Chiang Mai, it's not that great, but you can take their version of Uber, which is Grab. All right, so the next pro is Thailand has plenty of opportunities to have fun, no matter what you're into. If you're into partying, Thailand has partying, and it has so many different levels of partying. You can go to the Vegas of Thailand, which is Pattaya, with all its red light districts, and be 60 years old and party like you were 20 years old. Or you can go to one of the islands and do beach, ecstasy, freaking, those glow stick type of parties. You can do foam parties in Bangkok. You can find really hipster places in Bangkok. You can be here in Chiang Mai and go to some really good live music bars. You can find pubs everywhere in most of the cities, like British style, Irish style pubs. And so that's great. No matter what you're into in that party lifestyle, you can find it. Also, Thailand has some of the most amazing hiking in the world. Some of the best hikes I've done have been here, whether it's hiking just to hike somewhere beautiful, or doing a 5-mile hike through the jungle up a hill to come upon a Buddhist monastery that was built in the 1200s. Like, there's so much of that kind of stuff in Thailand. You can take a boat down the Mekong River, or the Ping River, or the Mekong River. You can go fishing here. There's like world-class golf, like whatever you're into, you can find. If you're into the cultural stuff, you'll find all kinds of plays and art galleries in Bangkok. If you're into the community type of stuff, like tapping into different communities, you can get on Facebook and find like I'm into cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. There's Bitcoin communities all over the place here. Whatever you're into. I'm into the dividend investing community as well. Those are in Bangkok and Chiang Mai as well. So there's plenty of opportunities for you to have fun. And it's really, really inexpensive fun too. Like, almost anything you do in Thailand is going to be, a fifth of the cost as it's going to be anywhere else you're at. And so the fun is inexpensive too. So you can have more fun. Like when I was living in Jom Tien and I went over to the island of Koh Larn with Chocolate Man in Thailand, we took a ferry over there. It was like $1. We went to the beach. Obviously the beaches are free over there, crystal clear blue water. We rented a moped. I think it was $3 for, to rent for the day. And we ate, I think it was like $2 to eat this like gourmet meal. And then we took the ferry back. Could have spent the night there and paid $14 for a hotel, a nice hotel, $7 for a, just a basic hotel. Like, it's just super inexpensive to have fun here. So it's pretty cool. All right, let's go to the next con here. Okay. This one is going to sound weird to some people that have only been to Bangkok and Pattaya, but the language barrier. So when you're in Bangkok and Pattaya, you can get by, but even Thai people that speak English might not speak the best English, even in places that have a lot of English. There's still a communication barrier. Like, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be able to sit down and have an intellectual conversation with someone from Thailand in English. You're not going to be able to sit down and debate foreign policy or talk about, thermodynamics or some. You're not going to be able to have an intellectual conversation about it. It's going to be very surface layer. Obviously, you can learn Thai and then you can have an intellectual. I'm not blaming them for not knowing English. I'm not blaming Thai people. I mean, we're the ones that should learn their language, right? But you're going to have a really hard time having a really in-depth intellectual conversation with someone from Thailand. Not all people. Some Thai people speak really good English and can have an intellectual conversation. But in a general level, that's not going to be the case. You're not going to be able to have super high-level conversations with Thai people in your native language, most likely. And, for me, that's a con, because I like, once you get past all the superficial stuff, it gets down to that kind of thing where you want to talk about, you want to have more deep conversations about different things. And it's a little bit harder unless you really seek out someone in Thailand that knows English really, really well, or you learn Thai really, really well. So, all right, the next pro. Thai food. A lot of people probably would have put this higher up on the list, and maybe it should be, but you can't. I mean, Thai food is famous all over the world. I remember when I was back home, my mother lives in a little tiny town. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe total in the town 3,000, and in the whole little area, like 10 square mile area, which includes a super Walmart, maybe there's 10,000 people at most. I mean, on a good birth year. But uh, uh, there's 2 Thai restaurants there. There's 2 Thai restaurants. Now, it's not the best Thai food I've ever had in my life, but I mean, it's pad Thai. You can go and get a decent pad Thai. You can get a decent pineapple rice, a decent tom yum. You can't get khao soi because nobody does northern Thai food, but you can get that good stuff. So Thai food is obviously world famous. And when you're in Thailand and you get past the pad Thai and the tom yum, and you get into some of the other more nuanced dishes, it's pretty awesome. Like, Thais have mastered blending like the sweet, sour, spicy, salty. They've mastered blending all that stuff together. And if you're the kind of person that really loves like Mexican food, really hot and spicy food, Thailand is next level spicy. Like, even not spicy food in Thailand is probably 10 times more spicy than anything you've ever had. And if you are able to man or woman up and go Thai spicy, like, it's next level. Like, burn your lips off spicy. So, but it's amazing. I mean, there's so like anything you can think of. Like, there's all kinds of vegetables in the dishes, all kinds of fruits, all kinds of different meats, a lot of chicken, a lot of pork. It's really good, and it's super affordable too. If you eat Thai food, it's going to be $1, $2 for a really good meal. And if you want a gourmet Thai meal, $5, $10. It's great. It's pretty awesome. All right, next con. All right, so if you've watched my videos here, you know I got into a motorbike accident with a big giant lizard. That's just a freak accident, a freak incident. But Thai roads can definitely be dangerous. If you get your Thai driver's license, they'll have you sit down and watch this video for an hour. And basically, it's 1 hour of Thai people on motorbikes getting destroyed by a car running a red light, by a truck running a red light, by a motorbike trying to get through a light and getting wrecked by a truck and flying off the bike, like three people on this little tiny bike flying all over the place, slamming into stop signs at 50 miles per hour, not wearing helmets. And it's an hour of that, of just Thai people just getting wrecked. And it can be dangerous here. You have to pay attention. Crosswalks definitely are just a suggestion. People don't stop for crosswalks here. Like, Japan's the exact opposite. Like, nobody walks in the crosswalk and nobody drives through the crosswalk when they're not supposed to. In Thailand, it's just a suggestion. You've got to make sure you have your head on a swivel even if you have the light and all that stuff. You got to make sure you have your head on a swivel even when you're walking. And when you're on a motorbike, you really got to have your head on a swivel. If you watch my Thai videos on my motorbike, where I have my GoPro mounted to my motorbike, you will see numerous occasions where I'm driving on the road and someone pulls up to, they have a stop sign on their road, and I'm very close to them, and they still decide to pull out, even though, like, they know I'm going to have to adjust to them pulling out. Instead of waiting a millimeter of a second, they pull out. You'll see that numerous times. You always have to pay attention to the roads that connect to the road you're on, because people they just for whatever reason, that's just how they drive, and you have to be aware of that, and it's dangerous. I would not have been as injured as I was had I had all my protective clothing on. I did have a helmet on, thank God. But had I had all my protective clothing on, I wouldn't have been as injured as I was in my motorcycle accident. So that's part of it as well. Make sure you do that. All right, let's go back to. So I kind of mentioned this before in having fun, but another pro is the beautiful nature around you. Like Thailand has everything. It has picturesque beaches, secluded islands, party beach towns, jungle-covered mountains, like amazing waterfalls, like next level national parks, and just on and on and on. Amazing river deltas. It has so much to offer when it comes to like beautiful nature. It reminds me a lot of the US, to be honest with you. There's so much beauty in this country. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty breathtaking. And another thing that's really awesome about it is there's so much ancient beauty as well. There's ancient monasteries, ancient structures, ancient temples all over the place. And so you have that. I mean, you could be hiking through a jungle and there'll just be this random, 12th century temple made out of old rock that's been abandoned. And there's monkeys running around it. Anywhere else in the world, that would be like a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But because there's so many of them here, like some of them are just out there in the middle of nowhere. You just come upon them. It's pretty amazing, actually. So, yeah. So the next bad thing. So we talked about traffic, weather, dangerous roads. This one's not really that bad. I haven't had a lot of experience with this, but one of my buddies told me it's been an issue for him a few times, and that's the Farang price. Like sometimes they'll have a different price for you. I've noticed with my Thai driver's license that I can get the local price in some places, but if you go to a national park and you're a foreigner, you pay more. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of okay with that. I think the Thai people shouldn't be charged anything personally, but I'm kind of okay with that. Now, when it's you might get that sometimes in commercial stores and stuff too. That's where I kind of disagree with it. But you can look out for that stuff. Most of the time, it's not that case. When prices are advertised, that's usually what both of you are paying. So if it says $20 for a dragon fruit, or 20 baht for a dragon fruit, whether you're local or Farang, that's what you're going to pay. But you have to be on the lookout for it, especially with unmetered taxis. Don't ever get in an unmetered taxi. That's dumb. In nowadays world with Uber and Grab and all that kind of stuff, you really don't have to worry about that. But back in the day, you did have to worry about getting overcharged on taxis. That was a popular scam here. Okay, let's see. The next positive is, so this one kind of connects with the cost of living one, but there's so many different housing options, which I love because I like a variety. Sometimes I like to be in the country. I just want to get a cabin out in the woods. And sometimes I want to be in a high-rise apartment with a hot tub in the apartment. My needs with that kind of thing change all the time. And in Thailand, you have that. You have like traditional Thai houses and villas that you can get. You can get villas very similar to the ones you can get in Bali with the little swimming pools and all that kind of stuff for a pretty affordable price. You can live in a high rise in the heart of Bangkok where they have a state-of-the-art gym, an amazing pool, front desk, concierge, and service department. And you have everything in between. You have modern apartments that are affordable. You have older buildings that are even more affordable. Whatever you want, you have here in Thailand. You can live out in the jungle. You can live in Isan on a farm. A lot of expats I know do that. Or you can live in the hustle and bustle of the city, like I am right now. There's just a huge range of a huge range of housing opportunities. All right, the next con is the scams. I kind of mentioned it earlier. Sometimes it used to be a lot more prevalent. It's a lot less prevalent now with the invention of the internet. But when I first started coming in here in '98, there were a lot of scams. One of the more popular ones that Navy sailors would fall into is the scam where you go and rent a ski-doo, a jet ski, and you don't inspect it for damage. And then when you bring it back, it's got some damage on it that was already there, and you get charged for it. It was very, 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 very common. It was so common that the U.S. Navy made it off limits for sailors to rent jet skis in Thailand when at a certain point in my career. When I first started coming here on Navy ships, you could rent them. And then later on, because it was so prevalent, because it was such a big problem, the Navy said you can't rent them. So, and they can do that, but you got to be careful for that stuff. Whenever I rent a moped here, a scooter, I take a cell phone video of it before I rent it, and I shine it on the person that's renting it, and I, have them give me like the thumbs up. And so if I bring it back and they try to say I did something, I can go, no, look, here's the video. Remember? And then they go, oh, okay. So you just got to be aware of that. And maybe they're not even trying to scam you. Maybe they didn't know that something was broke. But it unfortunately in the past, it has been a popular thing to do. So another scam that happened to me. So I rented an Airbnb. And if you remember, I have an Airbnb where I'm like, Airbnb kicked me out of an apartment. What ended up happening in that situation was a lot of times when you rent an Airbnb in Thailand, it doesn't include electricity costs. You'll see that down in the notes of a lot of the Airbnb rentals. It'll say electricity is separate, billed at this rate, 0.6 baht per unit, something like that, and or 6 baht per unit, or 4 baht per unit. And at the end of the month, they'll send you a bill on Airbnb, or you'll pay it directly to them. They'll take a picture of the meter before and a picture of the meter after. So what my Airbnb host was doing was falsifying electricity bills and overcharging people renting the Airbnb. I wish Airbnb would have told me that, because I might not have left that Airbnb. I might have just said, hey, I know about this. Don't do that to me, but I'll stay. But they didn't. I was already out before I found that out. But that's another thing you got to be careful of in Thailand. On that same note with Airbnb, a lot of people will come into my comments and say, dude, Airbnb is illegal in Thailand. And as a lawyer, I was like, let me research that. And what I found out was Airbnb is not actually illegal in Thailand. There was a couple cases that were brought in a Hoi Hin court against Airbnb, by hotels against Airbnbs. And what that court case said was, hey, you can't rent these Airbnbs on a daily basis without paying the hotel tax, because it's unfair to the hotels if you don't have to pay it, because they can't compete with you. So if you rent daily or weekly, you must pay that hotel tax, or it is not legal for you to do it. It's never been illegal for you to rent an Airbnb. It's been illegal for someone to rent an Airbnb daily or weekly. The court case also said this doesn't apply to monthly rentals, because that's not the business that hotels are in. Hotels don't rent monthly. Hotels are daily and weekly, a daily weekly business. And so if you're renting your Airbnb monthly, you're in competition with landlords, and you're on equal playing field pretty much. Actually, you probably will have to charge more, and so you'll be less competitive. So it's when people jump on there and say Airbnb is illegal, and I'm like, dude, you did no research. You read something in an internet forum, and now you think you know everything. Airbnb is not illegal in Thailand. It never has been. What's illegal is an Airbnb host to rent a unit out daily or weekly without paying the hotel tax. If they're paying the hotel tax, which most of them, if you're renting from an organization that rents multiple Airbnbs, manages multiple Airbnbs, they have a business license and they're paying that hotel tax. So 99% of the time, your Airbnb host isn't going to be in violation. And if they are, that's on them. It's not illegal for you to rent it. So there you go. They're accountable for that. So sorry, I just went off on a tangent. I should make a separate video on that. All right, where were we? Oh, all the housing options available. I don't think I have I don't think I have another con. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't think I have another con here for Thailand. I don't. I do have one more pro though. So it's what I really like about Thailand. So this is actually two-sided. So I guess this is a pro and a con. Sometimes it feels like Thailand is just one culture, but if you're in a place like Bangkok or Chiang Mai or even Pattaya, it's very multicultural because there's so many expats that live there, and it's something that I really enjoy. It's kind of especially Bangkok is kind of a hub of international culture. It's kind of like Singapore, Hong Kong. There's a lot of culture there. You can get pretty good Mexican food in Bangkok, actually. Believe it or not, Tex-Mex. Like you can get pretty good Tex-Mex there. You can get really good Japanese food. You can do different cultural events that are maybe part of your culture. If you jump on different Facebook groups, you can find all kinds of different expat groups that are into whatever you're in, whether it's going out and riding, a motocross bike out on dirt paths, or if it's hiking, or if it's Bitcoin, or if it's digital nomad type of stuff, drop shipping, all that kind of stuff. You can find it here. It's not like limited. Like some places I've lived in throughout the world, it's been kind of limited what you can do culturally. And Thailand hasn't been that way. All right. So I've been talking for a long time. I never even checked if I was muted or not. But yeah, those are the pros and cons. I'm not going to try to go back and try to read all the comments. I'm going to start at the very bottom right here where you see I'm not even going to try to pronounce your name. I can pronounce your last name, Cepeda. But this is where I'm going to start. So if you have a question, make sure you type it in there, and I'll get to it for sure. And if you did a super chat or something like that and I missed it, I'm sorry. All right. Hey, Kaylee's in the house. Everyone's saying hi to Kaylee. Let's see. All right. So I'll wait for questions since my little presentation is done, and I don't want to scroll all the way back up because it'll be kind of a pain in the butt. I mentioned Ukraine earlier. Obviously, I'm rooting for the Ukrainian people. I almost went to Ukraine 2 months ago. My buddy Johnny FD is there. He stayed. I'm actually a little bit worried about him now. Although Johnny FD is kind of famous in Thailand. Before it was popular to do like Thailand videos, he was making Thailand videos like 2012 on YouTube. That's how I found him. He was doing apartment tours. Like I'd never seen a Thailand apartment tour until his channel, and that was like 2012. And he hangs out with Bald and Bankrupt now, who is also in Kiev. But my thoughts and prayers are with the people, and obviously my friend Johnny. Hopefully this stuff ends quickly, and him and Bald are safe, and everything goes back to normal. But yeah, I almost went there 2 months ago. I was like, hey, dude, I want to come there in the winter, hang out with you. He owns 2 apartments there. He bought 2 apartments there recently. And I was going to go over and see him. And I'm kind of like, man, had I been there, I probably would have done the same thing as him. I just would have stayed, waited for it to blow over. That might not be the smartest thing to do. But all right. Have you tried Durian Ice Cream? I have. I tried Durian Ice Cream in Malaysia, and I didn't like it. I don't like durian at all. I can't get past the smell. And the ice cream is just bleh. Like the smell stays on your face. It's just awful. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking, Cody. What types of chilies do they use? Like Thai chilies. I think they're like really long. Um, it's Trust me, it's hot. I mean, I've eaten carbonara chilies in Mexican food before, and that's hot. But Thai chilies will just burn your face off. Like it's crazy. What neighborhood in Bangkok do you like for long term? I think I'm going to stay in On Nut. On Nut's my favorite neighborhood because I like its proximity to shopping. And by shopping, I don't mean like clothes shopping and stuff, but like being able to get groceries, fresh fruit, um, food. There's a Tesco Lotus right there, a big C right there near the BTS station, their version of Subway station. And so I really like it. I really like On Nut. But if you want to be closer to the action, obviously you go in on Sukhumvit Road. For those who don't know, there's this road called Sukhumvit Road that actually runs all the way down to Pattaya. Might run even further. And there's a bunch of metro stops on there, and those are usually the different neighborhoods that people live in. Starting at On Nut is usually where they start if you want to be on Sukhumvit. And then as you go up, there's different ones. Asok is like probably the main one people live at because it's like in the heart of everything. But people love Ekamai. It's got a lot of Japanese influence in that neighborhood, some really great restaurants, some really fancy condo buildings. But yeah, On Nut's my favorite. Hey, Kevin, is a storyteller adventure so happening? Yeah, possibly. They're so behind right now. I mean, they're like years behind on production, and so they're not going to give a unit other than the one they've already given to the Russos. They're not going to give a unit to a travel blogger. They got to get them to the customers. There's customers that have been waiting for almost 2 years for their rig. So, hey, Kevin, are you going to Bali anytime in the future? Vagabond Buddha listed Bali as his number one spot to retire. Yeah, if you guys don't know, me and Vagabond Buddha, we're good friends, me and Dan. I've been on his channel before. He has a great channel. He has a really cool subscription program. I bought the lifetime one. It was like $100, and he does all these little PDF guides. He's lived all over the world, like so many different places, and done these really in-depth guides on like the cost of living there. And I know one of his favorite places is Bali. I've been to Bali before, and I definitely plan on going there in the future again. It's a really cheap flight from Thailand. So if everything starts opening up like it's supposed to soon, I'll probably be doing some country hopping. I'll probably go to Malaysia, Bali, Singapore, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos. Then I'll probably start heading over to like South Korea. I would love to go to North Korea, to be honest. But yeah, Bali's definitely in the plans. Ubud, Canggu, I've been to both of them. I like Bali. What's the best place to live in Thailand for people in their 20s? I always tell people the best place is whatever works for you. I mean, Rian, people in their 20s are different. You might be very introverted and be a hiker and really like coffee shops, and I would say Chiang Mai, or be a digital, like some kind of digital nomad type of person. And I'd say Chiang Mai probably work for you. But if you're like, you want to party like a rock star and like have girls hanging all over you all the time, or guys if you're a woman, or whatever you're into, then I would say go to Pattaya. Live your best life. If you like big cities, then I mean obviously Bangkok. If you like beach life, Hoi Hin. There's tons of options for beach life. Hoi Hin, Phuket, Koh Samui, like Kamala Beach. I mean, I could go on and on. Rayong Beach. I could go on and on and on with great beach towns. If you're in the island life, I mean, take your pick. Koh Tao, Koh Phi Phi, like there's a zillion islands you can live on. So when anyone says best, like I don't know what you're into. You may hate ocean. So if I recommend one of the beach places, like that would be your best, right? Chiang Mai might be better for you. If you really love Buddhist culture and temples, I mean, Chiang Rai might be the spot for you, or Pai might be the spot for you. So there's no, like, the word best is like really hard to answer. Durian, I heard about it. I stay far away from it. Yeah, I tell everyone to try it because there's only two types of people in this world: people who love durian and people who hate it. There's no in between. So you might be one of the people that love it. Some people love it. I don't get it, but I learned. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm butting into someone's conversation. Yeah, if you guys put this question mark thing, then I'll know it's a question for me, and I'll be able to identify it. Have you seen the mini me build Humble Road is doing in a ProMaster city? No, I'm gonna have to check that out. That actually really interests me. Although I don't know if I'd go back to a ProMaster. I want all-wheel drive. So that would almost be a non-starter for me unless you could build it on a Transit. Kaylee, everyone loves Kaylee. I miss the Travado. We'd be returning to van life. Yeah, possibly. I answer this question almost every live stream, and I'm not dogging you for it. I'm not being flippant, but yeah, definitely. It's part of my travel plan for the rest of my life. I'll be returning to van life. But I always told, like, if you don't know this, MW, I make tons more money if I'm traveling in an RV or van on YouTube. I mean, like this month, I'll probably make $1,000 in ad revenue. When I'm in the van, I make $4,000 to $10,000 in ad revenue. I mean, it's a huge difference. But I always told myself, I'm not going to let YouTube dictate how I travel. The whole reason I left my job was because I wanted to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And so I'm going to travel the way I want to travel. And if people watch, they watch. And if they don't, they don't. That's okay. And I understand the damage that does to my channel. And I told people when I was in van life, like, this is not a van life channel. This is a travel channel. And at some point, I'll be traveling in another way. But I will come back to van life because I enjoy it. But I get tired of it and I want to travel another way. Like right now, I'd really like to travel on cruise ships for a year or till whenever I got tired of it. But it's too difficult to do that right now. So at some point, I'm going to be traveling another way. It could be in cruise ships. I've been trying to get a Honda Element to maybe build that out and travel around the U.S., Canada, and Mexico in a Honda Element built out. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, van life's part of my travel, man. I don't choose one or the other, man. I select all of the above, man. I'm an all of the above type of person in life. I don't think you don't need to shoebox yourself into just being a beach person or just being a mountain person. If you like the beach and the mountain, do both. If you like Thailand, Hungary, Paris, Ireland, the United States, Canada, do them all. You don't have to choose one. You can do them all. So there you go. Harbonaro, yeah. I always say it wrong. What's my favorite food? Depends on my mood. But I would say if I had to classify my overall favorite food, probably be Mexican. And then after that, probably Chinese, and then after that, probably Italian, and then after that, probably Thai or Malay or Indian. I don't know. Again, all of the above. I don't like to like pigeonhole things. It depends on my mood. When a tourist arrives with an American passport, is there a quarantine required? If so, how long? I'm not sure, man. I got here in July. It changes all the time. If you follow Chocolate Man in Thailand, he keeps people up to date on that. Last I heard was all you need is a negative. You come into Thailand in a sandbox like Phuket, and you take a test, and you go to your hotel room, and once that test comes back, which I think is the same day, then you're good. So I don't think there's any quarantine required unless you obviously have COVID. When I came, it was 14 days, and I did it, and it was fine. If you tried habanero, I should try Thai chilies. Yeah, I've tried habanero many times. I love Mexican food. I used to get this habanero pineapple salsa. I loved it, but it was hot. It was hot, but it's not Thai hot. It's not Thai hot. I'm gonna try to move this around to get a little bit better lighting. There we go. I've got these two windows in here, and they like once that sun starts hitting there, it goes crazy. By the way, I was going to do the Sunday night market last night, take you guys around it. But honestly, man, I was kind of glued to my TV on the Ukraine stuff. And because it's right outside my window, I ended up going out there to get food to eat and hang out a little bit. But I just wasn't up for live streaming last night. I'm just worried about my friends in Ukraine and worried about the people of Ukraine and all that stuff. And I wasn't up to it. I'm always much better in the morning anyway. I'm not really a night person. I get tired and drowsy. Much better at this kind of stuff in the morning. In Thailand, illegal Kinder egg legal in USA. Legal Kinder egg. I don't know what that means, man. I don't know what Kinder egg. I don't know what that means. Farem 9 is a good area too. I've never tried it there, but I've heard some really good things about it, Alan. I need to try it. Sometimes I fall into the habit of just going to what I feel comfortable with, and sometimes you need to get out of your comfort zone. Like I'm actually going back to Pattaya Jomtien area in a couple weeks, and I'm living in an area I've never lived in on Pratnak Hill. And I almost went to my comfort zone, and I kind of wish I would have because I really like Jomtien Beach Road. I like walking it every day. It's a 10-mile up and down walk. And I might regret the place I'm going to live in, although it's going to be a beautiful view. I might regret the area it's in because it's a little bit more isolated and harder to get around. And I've heard there's a lot of problems with dogs there. Like the dogs are a little, not like the beach dogs, they're a little bit more aggressive. And as someone who likes to go out and start walking, start my day at like 5 in the morning, go out and get coffee, go walking, it's a little concerning. So we'll see. I'll figure it out. Hopefully I don't get eaten up by a dog. Hey, Lucky Dog Productions. Speaking of moderators, what's going on, guys? Let's see. Hey, Amethyst, how you doing? Got 103 people in the live. I love that these impromptus get people. And thanks for sitting through my monologue. I want to have some replay value for these little discussion videos. If you travel to North Korea, you may see the same things North Korea allow other travelers to see. Yeah, I mean, I know they kind of limit what you can do and everything, but I would still like to do it. Any chance you'd ever do a month in the Naklua side of Pattaya, Vice Jomtien? Yeah, definitely. I've had some friends live there, and they've really enjoyed it. I definitely would. Yeah. I've heard it's really nice. And I almost booked a place there a while back. The only problem, again, with that is it's a little bit more isolated than I like to be. I like to be able to walk to grocery stores. So I'd have to make sure that I had it positioned near the limited amount of grocery stores that are there. Yeah, who hasn't hit the thumbs up? Smash that thumbs up. If I don't have 102 thumbs up, you're doing something wrong. Unless you hate it and you thumbs it down. And if you really hate it, thumbs it down twice. Which is better, Kuala Lumpur or Bangkok? I love them both, man. I couldn't pick. I would probably say I prefer Bangkok over Kuala Lumpur, but I've only lived in Kuala Lumpur once, and I was in a more isolated neighborhood. I think if I lived closer to the Petronas Towers in that area, I think I'd like it better, and then I'd have a better. I don't know it as well as Bangkok, so I would need to live there. Now, if you're talking Penang and Chiang Mai, I prefer Penang, even though I love Chiang Mai. I'm trying to compare apples to apples here. Islands like the island of Langkawi, I think rivals any Thai island. Kota Kinabalu, I think also could probably be compared to Chiang Mai on Borneo. Yeah, I mean, I don't like to compare things because I like them both. They're both great. And I really enjoy living in both of them. And maybe right now I probably would say Kuala Lumpur because I've been in Bangkok this year. But if I had been in Kuala Lumpur all year, I'd probably say Bangkok because, it would be new and fresh right now. Hey, Kevin, we'll be transitioning from NYC to Asia starting in May. That's awesome, dude. with Bangkok. We'll delay my fire lean plan as I got a job opportunity there. Dude, that's awesome, dude. I mean, there's nothing better than actually being able to come over here and like that's awesome, dude. Like, congratulations. That's really cool. You get to kind of do the best of both worlds. Like, continue to build your stack, and but also go to the place you want to go. If you don't remember, New York City was the last place I lived full time. So I love New York City, by the way, too. I could definitely live in New York City. Hey, Kevin, could you give some tips on pulling out cash out of an ATM in Thailand? So I don't know what country you're from. Maybe since it says Californian, you're from the U.S. You got to get the Schwab investor checking debit card because there's no international fees and they refund all ATM fees. So ATMs in Thailand can be a little bit expensive. It's like $6 to take out money. So always take out money once a month, like all the money you'll need if you need cash. You don't need a lot of cash in Thailand anymore. You always want to have some because you want to spend it in mom and pops. Never use a debit card or a credit card in a bar. In restaurants, mom and pop restaurants, I tend to use cash. But everywhere else, you can just do tap. Like, you can tap your credit card and pay. It's 7-Eleven, so they don't have your credit card number and all that stuff when you're doing tap. It's all encrypted. So there's plenty of places to do that. So, but yeah, I would definitely get the Schwab investor checking. It's the best ATM card for U.S. people because you get refunded ATM fees and no international fees. So it costs you nothing to take money out. Nothing. No foreign transaction fee, no international fee, no ATM fee. You get them refunded at the end of the month. They charge you initially, but you get it refunded. So it costs you zero money to take money out here, anywhere in the world. So definitely want to get that. If you're outside of the U.S., make sure that you have one that doesn't charge international fees and foreign transaction fees. That's the big one. But if you're talking about safety, like, Thailand's safe. You don't have to worry about that. I have heard of, like, back in the day, they used to have those things like we sometimes have in the U.S. where people scan your credit card number, but I haven't heard of that a lot recently. And if you see a local person using it, like, I usually just go to the banks, like the big banks. The banks here almost always have a security guard standing outside the door. So the odds of those ATMs being compromised are probably pretty low. If it was compromised, they'd probably catch it pretty quick. So I'm living vicariously through you, Kevin, so travel away. I will. I'll be moving to Thailand in a few years. Awesome, man. It's great. I'm doing a 2-month test run soon. I will be doing vlogs. Very cool, Zimmy. Very cool. We'll have to all subscribe to you, so you got some people to watch your channel. Viet Fantastic says Mex food or Tex-Mex. Yeah, Tex-Mex, man. Actually, yeah, I would probably say Tex-Mex, but when we're talking about pure tacos, like Pastor or what is it, Al Pastor, that's my favorite, which are, Mexican tacos. But yeah, Tex-Mex, I'm probably more of a Tex-Mex person than I am pure Mexican food, although I do love chilito, or what do they call it? The food in the morning, it's basically nachos for breakfast. Oh, man. What is it called? Basically, it's nachos for breakfast. And I love nachos, so any excuse to have nachos where it's acceptable, it's pretty awesome. So sometimes I tell this story. I grew up in Missouri in the Midwest, and we basically had a Midwestern diet, right? Which is fine. Meat, potatoes, that's pretty much what you eat every day, that type of food, right? And my first duty station was Hawaii, which is part of the U.S., but it's as culturally different as the rest of the U.S. as anywhere in the world. The food's different. Most of the people are Asian or Pacific Islander, and culturally it's just different, and the food is way different, right? And anyway, I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but one of the things I loved when I was younger was chips and salsa, but we never got it. we never got it in my family very often because we just did. There's not a lot of Mexican restaurants in the Midwest in this 70s, 80s, and 90s when I grew up, early 90s. Just wasn't a lot of Mexican restaurants. Taco Bell, that was a Mexican restaurant. But I loved nachos. And when I joined the military, my first year in the military, I'm pretty sure I ate nachos every single day. Because I finally made my own money and I was going to eat what I wanted to eat, spend my money on what I wanted to spend it on, and I love nachos, and I was eating nachos every day. When I got to Hawaii, there was this Mexican restaurant called Bandito's. It was a bar/restaurant, and they gave free chips and salsa, and they made the chips so they were warm when you got them, and it was just really good. But it was free, and I was underage at that time, so I couldn't even drink beer to like offset the cost for them. But I would go in there and sit for like hours watching sports and eating my free chips and salsa. Sorry for that side tangent. I was watching a video on Thailand, and a vlogger mentioned music at 6 p.m. every day. I don't know. Maybe they're near a government institution, and maybe they do something like we do at U.S. military bases where we raise and lower the flag at sunset and sunrise. Maybe it's something like that. I've actually seen that before when I was running in Thailand. I saw the police raising the flag and doing a ceremony. And there was what I believe was the national anthem. I stopped out of respect, because that's what you do in the U.S. So I stopped out of respect and like didn't disrespect their ceremony or whatever. But maybe that's it. I don't hear music at 6 p.m. only when it's night market on Sunday, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. There's all kinds of bands out here. So last night they played a little longer than 10 p.m. Singapore or Hong Kong. I like them both. The food is amazing. But I love the insaneness of Hong Kong. But I love Singapore. Singapore is one of my favorite places. So if I had to pick between those two right now, like where would I want to go right now? Singapore. Hey, speaking of travel vloggers, what's going on, Charlie? When I was in Thailand in 2001, Thai seemed pretty pro-USA. Is it still the same? Yeah. Thai people are live and let live type of people. I don't think they're pro or anti anybody other than maybe some regional stuff that I'm not aware of, maybe. But Thailand is one of those places that was never colonized or conquered, so they don't have a lot of animosity towards a lot of people that maybe other places might. And I've never experienced any anti-American sentiment here. Sometimes there'll be anti-Farang sentiment, but that's usually caused. Farang means foreigner, by the way, but oftentimes that's caused by the foreigner. Like maybe foreigners got drunk and did something stupid, and so there's maybe becomes an anti-foreigner sentiment for a little bit. But in most places you go in Thailand, the economy relies so much on tourism that it's almost the exact opposite. They love foreigners, not dislike them, because it's such a it's such a huge part of the economy. And Thailand is so multicultural, is so accepting of different cultures here. And I think a lot of that has to do with the Buddhist culture, karma. And, anyway, yeah, I've never felt any anti-American sentiment. As a matter of fact, when I walk around Pattaya, it's oftentimes humorous to me that I spent 20 years in the Navy, but when I left, I kind of let it go. I know a lot of people will still wear their military hat and all that kind of stuff. I kind of let it go. And maybe I'll do that later on in my life. It's not something I'm not proud of. I'm proud to have served in the military, but I'm not one of those people that's like that kind of thing, like beating my chest. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not dogging people that do it. Good for them that they're proud of it. But it's never been something that I've done. Like, I don't know, I feel uncomfortable. But when I'm walking around Pattaya, especially because it was such a huge naval port visit back in the day, I see all kinds of old Thai guys wearing Navy ball caps of whatever ship pulled in. Some sailor probably gave it to them. That we do that a lot. We give these hats that have our logo on, and I see that all over Pattaya. I see Navy ship hats being worn by Thai people, and sometimes I'll see the jackets too, the cruise jackets. That's what we call them, and I know they weren't in the U.S. military. Like I can just tell. So they got it from somebody. So that's always interesting to me. I just got a new channel member. Let me scroll down. Let me make sure I can find out where I was here first. That's good. I've been losing a lot of channel members lately because I haven't been putting out a lot of videos. Hey, thanks, Zimmy, for becoming a member. I appreciate that. I have a lot of long-term members now. I can't see it. I can't see it in StreamYard. I can't see the badges by the members, but they're different colors. Like you'll see the badge up here. They're different colors by how long you've been a member. And I have a lot of the bright orange ones, which means they've been members for, some people have been members for a year. So thank you for all those who have supported the channel in that way. Where are we at? Oh man, I definitely lost where I was at. I'm not blaming you, Zimmy, for becoming a member. It's not your fault. It's my fault. I should have marked it better. Here we go. That's where it was, right there. But yeah, I haven't felt any anti-American sentiment. To be honest with you, it's probably the other way around. Singapore and Hong Kong are way too expensive. So a lot of people say that, but I'm pretty good at finding deals. Now, this will be expensive. This will be expensive when you compare it to Thailand, but I can find a studio apartment in Singapore for anywhere from $900 to $1,100 a month, which is for Singapore is pretty affordable on Airbnb. So if you went there and lived as an expat, I think you could get one much cheaper than that. A studio in like Little India or Little Arab Town, which are two really cool places to live and hang out. So if you went there and maybe signed a long-term lease, you'd probably get it much cheaper than that if you wanted to expat there. But it would be more expensive. Like food's more expensive. I mean, a massage is $100 there, where in Thailand it's $6. So there are definitely cost differences. But you could live there. I mean, I think you could live a comfortable life there as an expat on $3,000 a month. You could live a relatively decent life on $2,500. I think. I could, maybe because I'm single and only thing I care about is food, and so I don't spend money on much else. So maybe for me, it's more expensive. But what's really cool about Singapore is right across the bridge is the city, the Malaysian city. I think it's Johor, and it's literally they're right next to each other. The cities of Singapore and Johor, and you can live in Johor for a fifth of the price and just cross the bridge. You have to go through the little immigration thing there, but it's not too hard. And so you can just live in Malaysia and pay, $400 a month for the exact same condo, probably better, $400 to $600 a month. It's a little bit more expensive there because they're so close to Singapore, but yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. That's one of those little travel hacks that if you know, you know. So yeah. Are there Thailand any NGO sending humanitarian supplies to Eastern Europe? Yeah, I think so. I actually donated some Bitcoin to the government there. So that was my way of helping out. Part of me, I spent 20 years in the military, and I still have this young gung-ho guy in me. Part of me is I wish I was there and could fight with them, but at the same time, I'm also, I'm on the other side of 40 now. I'm closer to 50 than I am 40, and I might just I probably get in the way, and I probably wouldn't be as valuable as my mind thinks I would be. So probably be more of a hindrance. Kinder egg chocolate with the toy inside. Yeah, those are pretty cool. Yeah. I would think those would be illegal in most places because you choke on them, but yeah. Hey, Kevin, ever think of doing a nightlife video? Yeah, man. I mean, there's a bazillion of those in Thailand. Like, you can't swing a dead cat. Sorry, Kaylee. Can't swing a dead cat without hitting a Thailand nightlife bar video. Like, there's plenty of other people doing that. I'm not a nightlife bar person anymore. I was when I was younger. I did all that. Just not something I enjoy doing. If I go out and do something like that, I go to like a pub and I just sit there and drink a pint and have a little. I'm gonna use my British words. Have a little chin wag with my mates, and that wouldn't be a very exciting video. When people say nightlife in Thailand, what they want to see is a bar full of girls, and so like I go to bed at like 9 o'clock, so 9, 10 o'clock, because I like to get up super early in the morning, go for a hike, work out, do that kind of stuff, take on the day, buy some stocks, buy some crypto. I like getting up I try to get up before the market closes. Sometimes I don't get up early enough, but yeah. So honestly, JC, man, there's like a million channels that do that. And I would just be another one doing it for views. And I don't even enjoy doing it. Occasionally I like to go walk around Walking Street and Soy Six and because those places actually bring back a lot of like memories for me as a young sailor going there. Not really Soy Six. It didn't really exist when I first started coming here back in the day, but Walking Street definitely. It just reminds me of my Navy buddies, to be honest with you. Us going there and trying to get into the boxing matches there and getting our butt kicked by some little tiny Thai guy that's been training kickboxing since he was 2 years old. Kicks trees, and when he kicks you, you like fall to your knees. Just it has a lot of fun memories for me from that point. So I do that, but it's not really like you're not going to really get that here, JC. But the good thing is there's a million channels that you can get that from. Thailand channels. When are you planning your move from Chiang Mai down south? I'm going to go to Bangkok for a little bit, but what is today? In about a week and a half. I actually is today Monday? Oh yeah, it's Monday for me. I actually need to go and check on the train. I want to take the overnight train down to Bangkok. I think that'll actually be a pretty cool video people might enjoy. There's a ton of those on here too. Overnight train from Chiang Mai to Bangkok, but why not? What is the music scene like here? I think it's pretty cool, man. It's a bunch of cover bands, and some of them are really good. If you go to the nightclubs, it's going to be top 40 U.S. stuff or top 40 throughout the history of the U.S., depending on the bar you're in. If you go to like the nightclub, it's going to be techno, just like it is anywhere else in the world but the United States. It's going to be techno type stuff, like it would be in Europe and Japan and other places. It's going to be that type of stuff, trance and techno. But yeah, it's pretty good. Russian president said they take Kiev by Monday. We'll see. Hopefully they don't. Hey, Kevin, gotta say, feeling a little jealous. It's raining here in Salt Spring right now. Yeah, it's not raining today. It's not really rainy season where I'm at right now. So Penang has the best Indian food. Yeah. So for those that don't know, Malaysia, obviously you have the Malay people, and they have their own cuisine, which is amazing. Nasi lemak is one of my favorite dishes in the world. And it's very comparable to Thai food. It's different, but there are some things that are similar. It's really close to Indonesian food. But they also have a huge Chinese population and Indian population too. And so you can get amazing Indian food there, amazing Chinese food, and you can get this fusion of all three, Chinese, Indian, and Malay, and just really good food. I think Malaysia might have the best food scene in the world because of that diversity. I think they might have the best food scene in the world. I've had probably in my top 10 meals I've ever had, probably 7 of them are from Malaysia. Malaysia food is really good. Thai food is more famous and amazing, but from a pure cuisine, I don't know, cuisine culture, I think Malaysia might have Thailand. Life of Surge is getting here April 5th. Can't wait to make more content on my channel. Yeah, check out Life of Surge, guys. Speaking of content creators, what's going on Unseen Thailand? Prompt pay on your phone is really big here. Yeah, I don't have that, but all I got to do is tap my credit card on the units. It works everywhere. So the tap technology here works pretty well. I've never tried to do tap on my phone. I could probably do it. I probably should try to do it. I've never tried to order with my watch. Like in the States, I just tap with my watch. But yeah. But it's never, I just tap with my phone or tap with my card. So, but yeah, I should try to get that prompt pay thing. Zimmy LRTs, bank refunds all fees. That's cool. That's good. Every time Kevin says mom and pop, I think of the Seinfeld where Kramer helps a mom and pop shoe repair store. I remember that. That's a great episode. But yeah, that's another thing I love about Thailand that I didn't list in the pros is everything is mom and pop. You can find chains. Obviously, there's Starbucks and McDonald's everywhere here. If you're in Bangkok, there's Texas Chicken, which is the same as Church's Chicken in the United States. Same company. They're everywhere. And obviously, there are 7-Elevens everywhere, but they're different than in the States. They're more like little bodegas, like in New York, little grocery stores, and they're mom and pop owned. So, but there's, I mean, restaurant wise, almost all mom and pops. There's no Chili's or, stuff like that. So I really like that culture. It reminds me of living in New York City, but the entire Thailand is that way. Everywhere is mom and pop. Mostly mom and pop places. There's no Home Depot. It's a mom and pop hardware store. There's no PetSmart. It's a mom and pop pet store. I like that. There it is, Chilaquiles. Chilaquiles. That's what it is. Chilaquiles is the name of the nachos you eat for breakfast. I love Chilaquiles. Hey, Mr. Mitch is in the house. What's going on, man? Don't eat gum in Singapore. It's not illegal to eat gum, to chew gum. It's illegal to spit it somewhere. So they do have like a law where you can only bring like 1 pack of gum into the country. It's not illegal to chew it. I used to brief this all the time. One of my jobs in the Navy as a Navy Command Master Chief was to do port briefs. So when we pulled to a port, I would brief what was legal and not legal and all that kind of stuff. And chewing gum is not illegal, although we would say not to do it because you're just risking it. But chewing gum is not illegal, but sticking it somewhere is. That's why if you go to a park bench in Singapore, there's no gum underneath the seat. There's none of that kind of stuff. Hey, Kevin, speaking of Taco Bell, I'm eating Taco Bell right now. I actually love Taco Bell. Now, they are starting to get Taco Bells here in Thailand, but they're not very good. Some of the items are similar to the U.S. Most of them are not. They use a different kind of chips for their nachos, not as good. It's not as good. Other things, like if you go to McDonald's in Thailand, it's the same as McDonald's in the States. If you go to Texas Chicken, it's the same as Church's Chicken in the U.S. They'll have some kind of local items, but Taco Bell is not the same. And I've actually found that in most places Taco Bell has been when I've traveled throughout the world, it's not the same as Taco Bell in the U.S. So there's just little subtle differences, and it's just not the same. Hey, thanks for what you do. Do you know the rules about drone in Thailand? I mean, I got buddies that use drones all the time here. So I don't think the rules there might be rules, but I don't think they're super strict because I see people using drones all the time here. So I don't think they're super strict, but I don't know the specific rules. But I have buddies that use drones all the time here. So there you go. National anthem, 6 p.m. every day. There you go. Melanie says, Kevin's generally in bed by 6 p.m. That's not true. That's not true. Not that early. Not that early. Singapore is so clean. Yeah. Japan and Singapore are probably the cleanest places in the world and safest, in my opinion, to travel to. Thailand is super safe too, but not. I mean, Singapore and and Japan are just ridiculously clean. If you had to articulate between a few cities because of the air quality, what would you choose? I definitely wouldn't choose Chiang Mai or Bangkok. I think the air quality down in southern Thailand is good. Um, I thought the air quality in Budapest, Hungary was good. Maybe because it rains all the time. And that like keeps all the pollution out of the air and brings it back down to the ground and I guess puts it into the water. But yeah, I mean, if you're in a city, you're probably gonna get pollution. But yeah, I wish I had a better answer for you for that. Yeah, Zemi, what are you vlogging about? Oh, resetting your life. I love that. I love those kind of videos. I mean, that's what got me to like the people that motivated me. Beer for Breakfast was one of them. The ladies from Beer for Breakfast. Remote Darren was another. I was watching Chrome, obviously, in his RV, in his van. Story Chasing, We're the Russos, some of the Johnny FD, like all these people that have reset their life. I was really into that content before I did it myself. I don't watch it as much anymore because I'm like living it, you know. Tend to watch less of stuff when you're in the middle of it. But I'll definitely check out your content. Kaylee, do you still travel even though your health is kind of down? Hopefully. Hopefully you get better. Hey Kevin, do you have any regrets on selling your RV? No, because I got like as much as I paid for it. At some point, the RV market will turn, and I'll probably be able to scoop up one in a bargain. I don't regret selling it. It was too big to park in my mother's driveway for years at a time, and so I don't regret it. I mean, I could just go buy another one. I mean, you know, so I don't mean that like flippantly. I just mean like I was able to like use it for a year, put over 20,000 miles on it, and sell it for what I paid for it. Probably could have sold it for more, to be honest with you, but I didn't feel right about that. I do find a lot of older people, especially the men, are not very interested in other countries compared to, say, Filipinos. What's your opinion? Yeah, I mean, I don't interact as much with older Thai people as I probably should. But honestly, man, here in Chiang Mai, I've had numerous conversations with older Thai guys, just talking about life and like, and they've seemed interested in, especially when I tell them like, yeah, I travel full time. They're always interested. So. Nearly passed away, so it's a wake up call for you. Yeah, man, that'll do it. Ever been to South Korea? Yeah, I spent a little time in Busan, South Korea. I've never been to Seoul. I really want to go. My buddy Remote Darren, who I just mentioned, is in Seoul right now, and he just loves it. So I need to get back there, but I did spend some time in Busan. I really liked it. I used Google Maps, I think, is what I used, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I just used Google Maps. The favorite book is a great read. That's good. That's good, man. Yeah, I saw that some people bought his book, even though that video didn't get a lot of views. I saw that like he sold 3 or 4 books. I'm like, oh, good for him, man. I'm like happy for him. Good for him. I mentioned this guy Jason Faber's book in one of my live streams, and some people bought it, which is good. Good for him. My dad was always ambivalent about the time in the Navy. He was proud, but it was also difficult. Yeah, Vietnam. I mean, that's obviously different. but lately he's been getting so into it. Yeah, I mean, I think when you get older and you're like reflecting on your life, I'll probably be the same way. But I've never been one of those kind of people that like branded people. Like, I don't know. When I left the military, I was kind of like ready to be away from it for a little while. So I kind of completely like detached myself from it. Um, I was just burnt out. I had done my last 10 years in the military. I had pushed boots as a drill sergeant, which is probably one of the most demanding jobs in the military because you spend 18 hours a day, 7 days a week doing that. And you do that for 3 years. And then I went on 3 deployments back to back to back. So uh, actually, that was my last, let's see, that was 2000. Let's see. No, 4 deployments back to back to back, counting Iraq, kind of my year in Iraq. So over like a 7-year period, I had a really difficult job pushing boots. And then I went to sea and I just stayed at sea the rest of my career, which is not normal, but I got promoted a couple of times, which I was thankful for. And I moved into other jobs. And so anyway, I did 4 deployments basically in a row with very little break, and also pushed boots in the last 7-8 years of my career, and with a year in Iraq, and then deployments, 3 other deployments on ships crammed in there. So, I mean, I was gone for basically 7 years between pushing boots and being deployed out of the country. So I was burnt out, man, and I was ready to like take a break, go to law school, and like just be a student and like not think about that stuff anymore. So I see a lot of people have joined. We're at 120 people. The first 30 minutes of this video is my pros and cons of Thailand. So if you go back and watch that and like have any questions, you can do that and I'll answer them. And now we're just talking about other random stuff. Yeah, Mr. Mitch has been out and about, man. You've been running around like crazy. I'm kind of jealous, to be honest with you. There it is. That's the name of it. Johor Bahru is the city in Malaysia. I probably mispronounced it, but right across the bridge from Singapore is another city, Malaysian city. And you can, I mean, it's not super easy to do, but it's not super hard either. You can go to Singapore for the day and then come back to Johor. And Johor is pretty cool too. So it's a cheaper alternative than Singapore. Would you ever take a sleeper bus? A sleeper bus? Probably not. No, probably not. Hey, Kevin, I bought a motorbike in Chiang Mai and decided to go to the islands for a few months. Is there a way to take your motorbike without riding it there? So I know that Ride for Kicks did something like that, had his bike ferried over. I don't know what island you're going to, but go watch his videos. He's got a video about it. I've never tried to do it, so I don't know. I would probably just rent one over there wherever you went. I think it would just be logistically easier, and renting a motorbike here is not that expensive. But if you really want to take your own bike, I mean, because it's got some kind of special capabilities, yeah, I mean, go check out Ride for Kicks. I think he's got a video where he did that, and he'll probably give you a lot more clarity. Still in Chiang Mai. Yeah, I'm still in Chiang Mai. I'm headed down to Bangkok for a week or so, and then back down to Jam Tien, Pratnak area for a month to reset my 90 days. And then if things are opened up, you might see me leave Thailand and go hit some other places. Malaysia seems like they might be opening up soon, so that'd probably be number one. Maybe Singapore number one. So Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam looks like it's going to open up. Cambodia, go to Angkor Wat. So yeah, we might start country hopping soon. And at some point, I got to fly back to the U.S. and visit my mom. And if the price of Honda Elements get cheap, maybe I buy a Honda Element, build it out. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. There you go. Lots of ways to transport your bike. Postal service will do it. There you go. Mr. Mitch has been driving motorbikes all over Thailand recently. He would know. I've ever been to the U.S. Virgin Islands. I'm trying to think. No, I haven't. I definitely want to go, though. One of my friends, her and her family sail full time. They've been living on a sailboat for like 15 years. Jody, I don't know, she might be in this chat. They hop over there all the time. They're always inviting me to go on their sailboat with them and sail over there. So I need to take them up on that offer. But yeah, Virgin, all the islands over there, all the islands are actually I have been to the Virgin Islands because I've been on a cruise that went to the Virgin Islands. So yes, I have. But I was on a cruise ship, and sometimes I don't know if I should count that. But yeah, I have been to Virgin Islands, but I would definitely like to go and do some island hopping. I think that would be great too, like Turks and Caicos, Virgin Islands, Aruba, Cozumel, off the coast of Mexico. Some other places, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. Like hit up, like just maybe live in an island every single month for 6 months. I don't know. I'm a little fascinated with hurricane season, and I know probably would be stupid of me, but I wouldn't mind doing that either. Yeah, I do have this channel, but I haven't done much on it lately, but I'm going to start doing it. I actually have someone that reached out to sponsor me on there called Voyager, and I wanted to use their app before I accepted the sponsorship. So I've been using their app now for about a month. And I like it. And if you deposit $100 in there and buy crypto with it, they give you $25 in Bitcoin. So you get a free $25 in Bitcoin. So once I'm comfortable with them, I might start doing more stuff. I don't know. But yeah, I actually really like this app. I'm actually checking some of my Bitcoin right now because I want to buy some today, and I'm just checking the price. But yeah, I really like this app called Voyager. So at some point, if I continue to like it, if I go another month or two and I like it, then I'll probably do some videos about Voyager, and you guys can get $25 worth of free Bitcoin. I mean, that's a 25% return right away. Even if the app sucks, I'm like, and in 14 days you can cash it out if you want. So it's not like you got to hold it forever. So it's like a 25% return on $100, like right away for free. So I'm kind of like, man, that's like a good offer. So I don't know. My first month, but I don't want to. You guys know the only partnership I have is with Merino Wool, and that's because I worked for 2 years before I ever did a partnership with them, and I like it. I use it. So I haven't done very many partnerships, even though I get tons of partnership offers all the time, especially from the RV community. But I don't like shilling stuff that I don't use. My first month Airbnb will be around Nana. Any recommendations? I mean, Nana's a little bit too much Vegas for me, but if you like that kind of stuff, I think it's great. I mean, it doesn't really matter where you live on Sukhumvit because you can just hop on the metro and go to another stop. So there's not a whole lot of difference between En Nut and Nana. In Nana, you're just in the middle of Vegas. Like you're just in the heart of it all, right? The heart of all the party. You're in the heart of the party place and the backpacker places. So I don't really have any advice for you. I mean, if you've never seen Nana, I'm assuming since you booked the Nana, you've seen it before. If you've never seen Nana Plaza, you should go see it. It's kind of crazy. It's like if you've never seen the Strip in Las Vegas and you go to Vegas and you don't go to the Strip, like why did you go to Vegas? So you should definitely go see Nana Plaza. But it's gonna be kind of crazy living there though. It's a lot. Girls in the rest of Thailand, yes. Bangkok, no. I don't know what that means. Let's see. So you're not going to Pai? No, I canceled my reservation in Pai. I really want to get down to the beach, man, and I can always go back to Pai. So yeah, I decided I'm ready to go back to the beach. So, and I need to do that's part of the reason, but the other part is I got a buddy down in Bangkok that that is not going to be there very long. So I wanted to meet up with him as well. So, oh man, that sucks, Cody. I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear about your dog. Mr. Mitch, I totally did a life reset and finally in Thailand. It feels great. Yeah, Mr. Mitch has been in Thailand for a little bit. He was in my motorbike buying video, and we lived in the same apartment building for a little bit, which was cool because I had someone to go to lunch with. But yeah, I can't remember where you live, Mitch. So I'm going to be in a place on Pratnak Hill for 45 days when I come back down there. Are you? I can't remember if you're in Pratnak or not. But I eventually want to get over to the Sands because I just like the location. I'm not even sure if I like the Sands building, but I really want to be at the very end of Jomtien Beach Road. So when I do that 10-mile walk, it's just up and back, and I can stop at the Wombat on the way back and get a coffee and breakfast every day. I think it'll just be a really nice place to live. Although I'm probably going to leave Thailand as soon as I can to go hit some other places up. Yeah, Right for Kicks weight loss videos are really good, man. He's a good guy. I met him a couple times. In Pattaya, they have like a vlogger meetup, and met him there. He's super genuine, nice guy. For some reason, I thought he was so much taller, though. I don't know why in his videos. Maybe because his girlfriend is short, but I thought he was like 6'5" or something. He just looks like a tall guy, but really he's about the same height as me. I'm like 5'11", 6 foot, between 5'11" and 6 foot. He's about the same height as me. For whatever reason, I thought he was like a 6'10" guy or something. So I was like kind of a little bit taken aback by it. But maybe it's because he's always with his girlfriend, and maybe that gave me the illusion that he was much taller than he was. Hey, Alan Edited's in the house. Oh, Dave did a live stream? That sucks. I feel bad. Let's see. I was on Buddha Hill getting a daily hike. Oh, you were out on Buddha Hill. Okay, very cool. Man, I want to be eating Thai food, watching Seinfeld. It's great. It's great. I'm going to be honest with you guys, though. I found this place in Chiang Mai. I don't know how long it's been here, but I never used it before. It's called Dukes, and it's all Western food. And it's the one place in Thailand that I've had a decent slice of pizza, like New York style pizza. And I've been eating a lot of Dukes lately. A lot of pizza, their chili's not that great, but they've got a lot of other things that are really, really good. They have like St. Louis style barbecue ribs. They have it's bad, and it's not super expensive. Like, it's much more expensive than a Thai meal would be, but it's like 300 baht, which is like $9-10. But that's still pretty good, in my opinion, for a whole pizza in Thailand. A pizza that tastes like good New York style pizza. And their medium is really big. Like, it's actually too big, but for me, and I can eat. But yeah, so I've been eating a lot of Dukes lately. I have been eating some Thai food because the place I'm living has a Thai restaurant underneath it, so it's really convenient. And I go down there and they make this watermelon freshly squeezed juice too. It's so good. And so I go down there to have a watermelon juice sometimes, and sometimes I'll get some Thai food down there. But I've really been on this Western food kick because I've been here almost 7 months now, and I've eaten a lot of Thai food. And sometimes you just feel like the comforts of home. That's what I've been doing lately. So. All right. My favorite food is Lebanese. I like Lebanese food too. I've never been to Lebanon, but I spent a lot of time in Malta. And if you've ever been to Malta before, there's a huge Lebanese influence there. And I used to go to this one Lebanese restaurant there. That was just so good. I enjoy Lebanese food too. I would need to be exposed to more of it, like put it on my top 5 list. But yeah. Why Malaysian and not Indian food? Malay food's just really good. I mean, I really like Indian food too. It's right up there. But Malay food is just, I mean, it's really good. But they have a lot of Indian influence as well. So that's part of it too. Need food now? Yeah. It's only 9 here. I'm drinking coffee. I made my coffee this morning, so you guys can not get mad at me. I'm not a huge fan of instant coffee, but these Nescafe ones are okay. And then you guys know I like Fufu sweet coffee, so I got this stuff that they have here in Thailand. It's like, I don't know, sweetened condensed milk. It's probably horrible for me, but that's okay. That's okay. I've been eating broccoli every day. That's another good thing about Duke's is you can't find a lot of broccoli in Thailand, but they have broccoli there. And so I've actually been eating broccoli with every meal. So there we go. When you visit Monterrey, Mexico, go to Frida Chilequiles. Okay. I love chilequiles. For those who are just joining, we talked about chilequiles earlier, which is basically nachos for breakfast. And it's acceptable, which I like. Let's see. Oh, I'm so far behind. Where's my watch buzzing? Let's see. What am I missing here? Someone buzzed me. Okay. All right. Let's see. What would you budget for 30 days in Tokyo? Man, I'm the wrong guy to ask. It just depends on your lifestyle. I mean, a lot of people say Tokyo is expensive. I don't think it's that expensive. I mean, once you get past the condo cost, but honestly, if you look around, if you're in the studio condos like I am, you can find a studio in Hong Kong or in Tokyo for $800 a month. Sometimes even cheaper than that. So if you're okay with living in small studios, which I am, I actually prefer them. You can do pretty well. If you need something a little bigger, you're going to pay more. So I would say, I don't know what your lifestyle is, man, but I would say I could live comfortably in Tokyo for 2,000 to 3,000. I know some people that say you couldn't live comfortably there for anything under 5,000. So, but I could do it for 2,000 to 3,000, I think. What gets you there is the food costs. I mean, it can be expensive. Although, if you eat like a local, and you eat a lot of noodles and rice, you could probably get your food costs down. I eat out every meal, so usually food is the biggest part of my budget. Because I live in a lot of countries that have very low cost for lodging, for places to live. Like this place I'm living in this month is only $300 and something for the month, a little bit over $300. And that includes electricity and internet. Food will definitely be my biggest cost this month. I'll probably spend $600 to $800 on food because I've been eating at Duke so much. But yeah, it depends. Yeah, it just depends. A lot of it hinges on what you can get your lodging for. That's what a lot of it hinges on in Tokyo, because that's probably going to be your highest cost. So it just depends on what you can get it for. I'm never good at answering these questions. And I've never lived in Tokyo either. I have researched it. I lived in Kyoto, which is actually pretty pricey. It's probably, I don't think it's more expensive than Tokyo, but it can be pretty pricey. My condo that I had there in the heart of Kyoto was I think it was $800 to rent it for the month. So yeah. Yeah, Taco Bell is expensive in Thailand, and it's not for those of you that aren't American. It's not like Taco Bell in the U.S. It's much different, in my opinion. It's much like the flavors are just different. The the ingredients they source are different. The chips are definitely different. The corn chips are definitely different, much different, which completely changes like Nacho Bel Grande. Like don't like you're not going to get a nacho American Nacho Bel Grande. But yeah, what do you think of what Russia is doing? Yeah, I talked about this earlier. Obviously, I completely disagree with it, and I'm rooting for the Ukrainian people. I have a friend that's there right now, Johnny FD, another YouTube blogger. He's been doing some blogs there. He's actually there with Bald and Bankrupt, and yeah, I mean, I'm actually kind of worried about him. So, yeah, I talked about this earlier. I was chatting back and forth with him. I was going to go there 2 months ago because I wanted to go to Ukraine in the winter. I wanted to like be there in the freezing cold, and I was actually going back and forth with Johnny about visiting there. And I almost pulled the trigger, but it was just really hard to get in there at the time because of COVID. I didn't want to go through all the requirements. If they didn't have those requirements, I would have went. And so I would probably be in Ukraine right now. And I just knowing myself, I probably would have been like, I'll just weather the storm, like Johnny did. I'll just stick around, which might not be a great idea for a prior, a U.S. military retiree. I don't know. I'm super worried for the Ukrainian people. I hope I hope there's a diplomatic solution soon. But I have mad respect for the fight they're putting up. Like it's as someone who's been in combat zones throughout their military career, there's something about having home field advantage, man. It gives you even against overwhelming power, having home field advantage and fighting for your home is much different than when you're not fighting for when you're fighting for political reasons instead of for the survival of your country or your family or your way of life. It's different. So I'm rooting for him. I got nothing but mad ass respect for Ukrainians in the fight right now. I actually donated some Bitcoin to them. So. Hey, I'm going on remote year next year, starting in Cape Town. That's cool. So, are you doing Asia? Because usually Cape Town's part of Asia. So, are you going to after Cape Town? Are you going to like Bali and Thailand and Japan? Is that what you're doing? Curious. They used to have Malaysia on there. Most of the people in remote year didn't like Malaysia, and so they took it off there, which is really sad for me because I love Malaysia. But a lot of people in remote year didn't like Malaysia. But yeah, that's really cool, Lori. Very cool. Should have used my affiliate link for that in one of my old videos. You would have got $500 off or $100 off. I can't remember what it is. I love that program. I would do it again for sure. Are you doing a 12-month program? I've actually been in talks with them about doing another program in the future. I'm just waiting for things to open up, so so the itinerary is a little bit more solid. So. Do I ever take naps? Yeah, I love a good nap. What's your reason? Why quit a fulfilling, profitable job? Was it a difficult decision? So for me, it was about like, I didn't really need it anymore. I made a lot of money. I was a lawyer in New York and I made decent money. But like, I'm not rich or anything, but I have a military retirement. I have a pretty good dividend income, growth income portfolio. I have rental properties, and so I can fund my travels in my life. And I got to the realization that my most valuable commodity was my time. And I got to a point where a lot of money wasn't worth the time. I wanted to spend my time doing other things than working on pharmaceutical company lawsuit cases. I wanted to spend my time doing things that I enjoyed doing, like traveling, eating great food, spending time with friends and family, RVing across the country. And to me, I really liked practicing law, and I would do it if I could do it remotely easier. I like the intellectual challenge of it, but I don't like the time commitment. And I wanted to do other things that I wanted to do with my time, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you have. I mean, Steve Jobs was the richest man in the world, and I'm sure he would have given every single penny he had for another year, but it didn't matter. $1 billion couldn't buy him another year. So it's your most precious. We all don't realize it until we don't have it anymore, but all of us are rich in time, and that's your most valuable commodity. So if you can figure out a way to support your lifestyle without having to give up so much of your time, I recommend people try to figure it out. So I feel really fortunate that I was able to figure it out. Hey, Kev, what would you do without Kaylee? Oh, man, I would be screwed. Why? Is there a bunch of people saying bad stuff and Kaylee's going in there and fishing them out? U.S. Virgin Islands, similar to the rest of Caribbean high end. Yeah. What am I missing? What are the mods doing? Are they getting people? How was Cape Town? Cape Town's great. It was my last city in remote year, and so I was a little burnt out from the group travel stuff. So I probably would have enjoyed it if I would have had it as my first country. But I enjoyed it. I mean, I went on a safari. The safari was amazing. Spent a lot of time at the beach there. The beaches are amazing. It's cool. It's a cool place. It's very cool. Would you ever take a ferry to Samoa? Yeah, absolutely. I've been to America Samoa before. What is Bitcoin at now? It's like 37, 38. I don't know. I'm hoping for another pullback. I'm trying to get Bitcoin at the cheap. I don't want it to go up. I don't have enough of it. So let me see. It's amazing how Face ID can pick up my face so far away. Yeah. Oh, it's almost at 38. Dang it, it's going up. Oh, all right. Let's see. Which is better, Vienna or Budapest? I've never been to Vienna, so I can't judge that. For those that have been watching my channel, I love Budapest. Budapest. What's the worst thing I've ever tasted? Probably durian. And the worst thing I've ever smelled? Probably durian. Same thing. Actually, the durian tasting bad might have been because of the smell. Now, when I was a kid, I hated liver. I hate the taste of liver. So there's a Lebanese restaurant in Arlington, Texas that was featured in Guy Fieri's show, Diners, Drive-Ins. Is it Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, Diner? No, I can't remember. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's cool. Very cool. I like that show. I used to watch it a lot. I've been to a bunch of the restaurants he visited in New York, in Hell's Kitchen. So yeah, there's great vegetables here. I think I would love Thailand, low cost, good safe food, and now I'm hearing great veggies. Yeah, I mean, yeah, It really is. From a food perspective, it's really great. It's low cost, and there's stray cats everywhere. So you'd have an abundance of cats to pet. Yeah, fruits are what's really crazy. How cheap they are. Like a mango here is like it's like 10 cents for a mango. Like chopped up whole mango, super cheap here. So do you have Navy? Do you have Navy buddies? Do I have Navy buddies on deployment? Yeah, I mean, did I? I mean, yeah, I deployed with a lot of Navy guys. Yeah, Johnny's fine. He did make a video. He's made a couple of them. Also, his Twitter. He posts a lot more on his Twitter, which is good. So, yep, I'm bald, man. I'm follically challenged. Whatever. because because I should go to I mean I don't know bald in Bitcoin, not bald in Bitcoin. I don't know bald in bankrupt. I do know Johnny though. I've been on his show twice and his travel show twice and his investing show once. We've got a pretty good um, um, digital friendship. I was actually supposed to be at Nomad Summit in Tbilisi, Georgia, in 2020. Ended up getting canceled because of COVID. But yeah, Johnny's there right now, and I know he's doing all right. But he lives right in the middle of Kiev, so I'm a little bit worried about him if they get to that area. I'm not worried about him. I'm not worried about. Like, I'm more worried about like collateral damage as someone who's been in war zones and knows the has seen that stuff in person. It's not a good thing. Hey Hakeem, what's going on, man? Did you hear some guy hacked the Russian media and show truth on Ukraine? Yeah, I heard Anonymous is beating him up a little bit. Hey Gator Jake, what's going on, man? The Ukraine debacle is destroying the financial markets. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would rather that not happen, but from a financial perspective, you should always buy these kind of events. Throughout history, it's always been a good time to buy whenever someone has declared war or there's been some kind of attack or something. Not that you wish for that kind of stuff, but just from a pure financial perspective, it's always a good time to. It's always proved to be a decent time to buy different assets. So take that for what it's worth. They've already kind of rebounded since initially. I remember when it first happened, I was like, I'm buying some Bitcoin because I got a feeling a lot of people in Thailand or a lot of people in Ukraine are going to be using Bitcoin. So yeah, BTC is a solid deal right now, I think. I don't know. You never know though. It could go down to 10, 5, whatever. I'm a holder. I just buy and hold. Sorry if you've answered this. I've never been able to track down your dividend investing channel. Yeah, I changed the name. I switched from dividend investing, which is my primary investment vehicle, over to something that's a little bit more that I'm more interested in, like the news cycle of, which is Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So I switched the name of that channel to Bald and Bitcoin. Um, I still talk about dividend investing on there. I have no problem talking about it, but it's kind of boring, and then there's not a whole lot of daily news on that stuff. Just like, hey, Johnson and Johnson raised their dividend 5%. Like, that's basically all I can talk about in the video. So I decided to have it. I wanted more of a live stream format, so I decided to do it that way. So. And if you're just joining, if you go back to the beginning of the video, first 30 minutes are the pros and cons of Thailand for me. So. Oh, we're getting into a lot of politics in here. Also, hope to link with you when I come to Thailand in December, maybe sooner. Quick question. Have the $7 foot massages gone up in price because of lack of customers? Actually, they're less than $7 now because I don't know what currency you're using, but the dollar, you can get more baht right now. So they're like more like $6. But yeah, those still exist. The other night I was out here at the Sunday night market, and it was $80, 80 baht for a half an hour foot massage and 140 baht for an hour. So 140 baht, what is that? I don't even know what it is. And that's like the night market foot massages that are out here. There's a bunch of people that set up chairs, and yeah, that's 140 baht is $4.30. So if you do it at the night market, it's that. But usually it's around 200 baht, around 200 baht. So $6.12 right now. So sometimes it'll be 250, but yeah. Are you a guitar player, man? I play a little guitar. I'm just rhythm mostly, though. Mostly rhythm. All right, I'm all caught up. If you got any questions, if you watched the video from the beginning and you want to ask a question about those pros and cons I talked about, or give your 2 cents, feel free to say it down there. If you want to talk about any other travel stuff, if you don't know, first time watching my channel, I've been traveling for 3 years straight. Prior to that, I spent 20 years in the military. That's when I was first exposed to travel. U.S. Navy, traveled around the world, started coming to Thailand in 1998. Love the place. When I was younger, I loved the bars. As I got older, it was more about the culture, the food, the cost of living. After I left the military, I became a lawyer, quit my job as a lawyer, traveled full-time, started traveling full-time in 2019, lived in a different country every month. The first year I traveled, spent 30 days, 12 different countries. COVID hit. I bought an RV in the U.S. I drove across the U.S. for a year. After things started opening up, I flew to Hawaii, stayed there for a couple months, decided to buy a Thai Elite visa, bought the 5-year Thai Elite, which I'm going to expand to the 20-year. I love Thailand, been coming here since 1998, spent a lot of time here. And one thing that COVID taught me was I wanted another country besides the U.S. that I could kind of come and go as I please. And the Thai Elite visa, Thailand was the place I wanted to be. One of the hard things about Thailand, if you're under 50, is visa. It's always kind of a pain in the butt. And so I decided to buy a Thai Elite visa. And that's what I did. A lot of people don't like the Thai Elite visa. I think it's a waste of money. Each their own. So yeah, now basically I can come and go as I please in Thailand for the next 20 years till I'm 66 years old, 65, I guess, because I've already had it for a year. So, have I seen the Singapore airport? I've spent a ton of time in Singapore, actually. Probably the place I've been the most in my Navy career is Singapore. Navy ships always pull into Singapore on the way into the Arabian Gulf. So I've been to Singapore. I don't know. I've probably been to Singapore, 100 times in my life, maybe more than that. Still a little screen share. Let's see. No, not upload. There we go. Here you go, Changi Airport. Yeah, I've been to Changi Airport before. Many times. I love Changi Airport. I've actually, I probably should have made some YouTube videos about this, but I actually stayed in the airport. So if you don't know, there's actually some pretty good hotels in the airport, and I've stayed in that airport just to hang out in the airport. So one of my favorite breakfast restaurants in Hawaii is called Eggs and Things. It's amazing. When I was young and dumb living in Hawaii, I would go to the nightclubs, and in the U.S., most nightclubs close at 2. For you guys who are from overseas, where nightclubs stay open all night. In the U.S., most nightclubs close at 2. Some nightclubs will get a special license and they'll be able to stay open until 4, but most close at 2. And my routine back in the day when I was young in Hawaii was we would go to the club, and then afterwards we would go to Eggs and Things. And they just had some amazing breakfast food, and you got so much breakfast food for the price. Back then, it's a lot more expensive now, because back then it was like, it's kind of a shithole mom and pop place. Now it's kind of like popular. It's actually so popular they have one in Changi Airport. And so that's every time I go to Changi, I always want to go to Changi Airport because they have an Eggs and Things. And I get the cheddar cheese scrambled eggs with corned beef hash and potatoes, and just it's life changing. The one at Changi Airport, they don't give the portion size that they give in Hawaii. In Hawaii, they get, Hawaiians are some big people. In Hawaii, they give you mounds of eggs and potatoes and hash. In the Changi Airport, they're a little stingy. I'm not going to lie. But it's very nostalgic for me, so I like it. Someone just said I love Zippy's. Yeah, in Hawaii, there's a place called Zippy's Chili. And a lot of Hawaiians, a lot of people in Hawaii love Zippy's. I don't get it. Hey, Kevin, have a meet and greet in the U.S.? Yeah, I might in the future. I've never been like a meet and greet person. I've always just crashed other people's meet and greets. I've never really, I don't like, I tell people this all the time. I don't settle down anywhere. I've been in Thailand for 6 months. I haven't lived in a city longer than maybe a month and a half, 2 months. I like moving around, even when I'm in a country. So, and when you do those meet and greets, you got to plan, you got to set a date, and I don't like to tie myself down to that, because maybe tonight I want to do a meet and greet, but in 2 weeks when I have it scheduled, I might not want to. So, but maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. I'd rather crash other people's meet. That's what I really like doing, crashing other people's meet and greets. If you've been following my channel for a while, you've seen that. If you were going to pick a country besides Thailand to set up as a backup country, which would it be? Probably Mexico. I really love Mexico. I like how easy it is to fly home too. It's super cheap. Fly back to the U.S., $50. So for me, that'd probably be part of it. So probably Mexico, but I love Paris as well. I love being able to take the tunnel over to London. So Paris would be right up there. Budapest, Hungary, I love, and it's like living in Paris, but at a fourth of the cost. So, yeah. I wouldn't mind living in Dublin either. I love the UK, man. I love hanging out in the UK. Ever thought, even though you stopped your dividend channel, thank you for getting me to jumpstart mine. That's awesome, man. I just drove past Eggs and Things an hour ago. Awesome, man. So the Eggs and Things I used to go to burned down. They had a fire there. I don't know if they rebuilt it. There's a couple Eggs and Things in Hawaii now. I know there's one at the very end of Waikiki now, but I think there's still one at the beginning. I used to hang out at this nightclub in Hawaii called The Wave. It doesn't exist anymore, but it was kind of iconic. And so I would go to The Wave, and then we would walk because we'd been drinking. So we'd walk to Eggs and Things at 2:00 in the morning. So. Yeah, no problem, man. I'll still talk about the dividend stuff. I've been thinking about changing that channel to encompass everything, because one of the cool things about that company Voyager I was talking about is Voyager offers interest on your Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So right now, I just have Bitcoin and USDC coin in there, which is basically it's always $1. It's a stable coin, but they pay 9% interest on it. Actually 10% because I have the kicker because I have enough loyalty points in there now. But so I'm making 10% on my dollar in there, which is great. But Bitcoin, they pay anywhere from 4.75% up to 6.25%, depending on what loyalty level you are. No loyalty level, you get 4.75. So it's really cool right now. I'm starting to experiment with the DeFi and CeFi stuff, which is basically creating passive income off your cryptocurrency, basically kind of like a dividend yield. And so it's got me thinking that maybe I can switch my channel to basically be both, Ryan, more of a passive income through investing channel. So I can tell people about my tried and true method, which is dividend growth investing, but also I can show them this new way that and it's all experimental for me. I don't know, it could be a disaster, but yeah. Did I ever happen to go to the wave in Waikiki? There you go. I spent a lot of time in the wave, Lorena, a lot of time. More time than I probably should have. Yeah, the wave Waikiki was epic and iconic. Yep, epic and iconic. Some of the best days of my life. I just realized I got a super chat, so I want to jump down here and say thanks. Thanks for the info on the IDO Moby condo. Your forced out video, definitely want to try to rent an Airbnb there when I came. Kind of dumb question. Yeah, so I think you're okay renting in the IDO Moby. It was my specific renter that was basically falsifying electricity records. So if you can find one in there with a Superhost or something like that. So I almost always book with Superhost, or it has to be a unit with a ton of reviews. I broke my cardinal rule because I really liked the double level nature of that place and access to the pool. And so I broke my cardinal rule and I booked it without, I booked one that didn't have that great of reviews. And that was my mistake. But all the other ones in IDO Moby, for the most part, have good reviews. So I think you're okay. For those who don't know, IDO Moby is a building next to the En Newt BTS on Sukhumvit Road. So I love living in the En Newt neighborhood personally. I like having access to the BTS really close to me to be able to go to the party areas if I want, but also be further enough away from them that it doesn't like annoy me. And I like being close to them. You have a lot of good grocery shopping and things like that. It's really convenient place to be. So, kind of dumb question, but does the train run from Bangkok to Pattaya? No, but they're supposed to be extending it down to Jomtien, I believe. How long will that take? Who knows? But supposedly the train is supposed to eventually run to they're building like a mall there at the edge of Jomtien and I think Bang Sarai. And the train, supposedly there's going to be a train that runs to the mall. So, but currently, no. You can take a taxi from Bangkok to Pattaya. It usually costs me around 1,300 baht. I use the same lady that I have online just because I trust her. I'm sure you could probably find it cheaper than that. I know some people pay 2,000 baht, or you can get on a bus, which is cheaper. So whichever one you choose, but it's not hard to get down there. I mean, $30 to $50 US dollars to get down there if you take a cab. And bus, I want to say is $10, $8, something like that. So there's other ways to get down there, but at some point, I'd imagine the train will run down there. But thanks again for the super chat, man. Trying to figure out where I was. Changi is the best airport ever. Yeah. For those who don't know, Changi, man, I like to go to Changi and have a really long layover because they have a swimming pool on the roof where you can go for a swim. So you take a long flight from the U.S., stop in Changi, go jump in the pool, have a cocktail, then fly wherever else you're going. I like it. I really like Changi Airport. I'm one of those weird people that likes airports. A lot of people don't. I like them. I always get to the airport like 3 hours early. I have a priority pass, so I can go into all of the lounges in most airports. So I really like airports. I know a lot of people don't, but I like them. And Changi is one of those, like Dubai and Changi are like crazy good. Changi has like slides. They have a pool on the roof. They have amazing shopping, amazing restaurants. Like you could take a vacation to Changi Airport. They have. I mentioned I stayed in the hotels in Changi Airport before. It's really cool. Would you have an interest in doing the northern part of Vietnam on a motorbike? Yeah, my buddy did that. My buddy Dan did that. And I wish I would have done it with him at the time. I didn't, but I wish I would have. But yeah, Tim and Finn. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those classic things that people do. So they do that northern Thailand bike ride. Yeah, it's definitely something I would do. If you think driving in Thailand is crazy, nothing compares. Nothing compares to driving in Vietnam. Maybe not on the country roads, but when you get into the cities like Hanoi, I know people say Bangkok is bad traffic and crazy and dangerous. You've never seen nothing until you've seen Hanoi, Vietnam traffic and the dangers of being on a motorbike. Thailand has a ton of motorbikes. They're like giving away a Tic Tac compared to Vietnam. It's not even comparable, even though Thailand has a ton of them. It's not even. I mean, there's like I read one time there's like 2 motorbikes for every person in Vietnam. I mean, it's just like a sea of motorbikes. Where in Bangkok you'll get like a lot of mostly cars actually, but in Vietnam it's mostly motorbikes. Liza Jane, love your videos, helping me make the remote worker plunge. That's awesome. Congratulations. What is that? What are you drinking there? What is that? What is that? Bintang? What is that? Bintang. What is that? What country is Bintang out of? I have no idea. It looks like maybe Vietnam. Zippy's Korean fried chicken. Everyone's on the Zippies. I never got the whole fascination with Zippies. The only thing I ever really ate there was Spam and rice. But I tried the chili. I didn't think it was that great. I don't remember their fried chicken. I always got L&L barbecue fried, the chicken katsu. So I don't know. The Wave. I used to go to college there. That's awesome. Someone put some Jimmy Buffett. For those who don't know, Jimmy Buffett is probably my favorite artist. Him and Van Morrison. I've probably been to 20 Jimmy Buffett concerts. And one of these days, I mean, he's getting up there in years actually. But if you've never been to a Jimmy Buffett concert, it's like an experience. Like I highly recommend it. I never went to Grateful Dead, but I would think that would be kind of comparable to like following the Grateful Dead. But that's one of the things I wanted to do in my RV was follow Jimmy Buffett. And I mean, obviously it was during COVID, so I wasn't able to do that. But at some point, I'd like to come back to the U.S. and follow Jimmy Buffett for 6 months or something. I love Jimmy Buffett concerts. Daryl went to the Wave in college. That's awesome. Have I been to Argentina? No, I want to go. I've hiked in Patagonia, but on the Chilean side, I really would like to hike the Argentine side. But yeah, it's definitely on my bucket list. So I have a video, if you go back and look at my older videos, where I was hiking in Patagonia. So I was near the Argentine border, but I was in Chile. I was in Torres de, I say Paine, but I think it's Torres de Paine. Torres de Pine. Any city in Mexico that you would spend more of your time in, that you would use as a hub. I haven't gone there yet. I love Mexico City, man. It's a cool city. So if I was just going to recommend one thing to somebody, it'd probably be Mexico City, because odds are there'd be something there you would like. But I really like Playa del Carmen. I know it gets a bad rap now because of all the digital nomads there, but I like Playa. Maybe for that reason, I don't know. Right across the water there, Cozumel, which is a little island off the coast of Playa del Carmen. You can take a ferry for $1 there. If you really don't want to be around the hustle and bustle of Playa, not that many people stay on it. I just noticed my mic was muted. I'm sorry. I don't know how much I missed of this, but what I said was, I'll give you the Clip Notes version. What I said was Mexico City is probably what I'd recommend, because that would you'd probably be able to find something you like there. But I really like Playa del Carmen. I know it gets a bad rap now because all the digital nomads there, but I like it. Actually, right across a short ferry ride from Playa del Carmen is the island of Cozumel. It's $1 to take a ferry. I really like Cozumel. I like staying on Cozumel because then you're out of the hustle and bustle of Playa. It has some of the best snorkeling in the world, but you can just hop on the ferry and in 5-10 minutes you're in Playa. You can go to the restaurants. But I really like that island. It's kind of one of those hidden gems, I think. It's so close to Playa, you would think there'd be a lot of tourists and stuff, and there are tourists on there, but you would think it would be a little bit more saturated, but it's not. I don't know why, but I really like Cozumel. And Tulum is nice. And then on the other side, if you've been watching my channel for a while, I've got a video about Puerto Escondido, which I love, Puerto Escondido. It's a little surf town. It's got some of the best surfing in the world if you like to surf. It's just a really cool, laid-back beach town. You can get some really good deals on Airbnbs there. $300, $400, $500 a month, and you're on the beach. I've got a whole video on Puerto Escondido, but yeah, there's so many good things in Mexico. I don't know if you're American. We have this like perception of Mexico and the U.S. for some stupid reason, and it's an amazing country. It's really cool. I really hope you do a more well-rounded investment channel. Yeah, I think I'm going to, Ryan, because I like talking about both of them, and I should just treat it like this channel where I don't really care about the growth potential of it. It's much better when you're specialized, but yeah, I should probably not care about that because I enjoy talking about both of them. Yes, the train runs from BKK to Pattaya. Nah, the train doesn't run. Train? Are you sure, Mr. Mitch? I don't think a train runs. Maybe it does. There's a train from freaking Bangkok to Pattaya? How do I not know that? How do I not know that? Is that new? Is that new? How do I not know that? All right, I got another super chat. Oh, man, I feel really stupid. Sorry for all that bad advice I gave you. Thanks for the super chat, man. Liza, have you lived all over Thailand? What place is your best experience? I say this all the time. Like, I'm one of those people that just depends on what my mood is. Like when I was in Pattaya, when I first got to Thailand, I lived in Bangkok for a month. And I lived in On Nut. Actually, I lived in On Nut in Tangalore. And I loved it. But I was ready to get out of the city and go down and maybe hit some bars up in Pattaya. So I went down to Pattaya for a month. That wore on me really quick. And then I moved over to Jomtien, which is a little bit more my style, more laid back. You can still access the nightlife if you want, but it's a little less crazy. I lived in actually Na Jomtien, so way down away from Pattaya. And then I came up here to Chiang Mai. I wanted like coffee culture and more of a digital nomad presence and a bunch of like hippy dippy cafes like Fern Forest Cafe and Freebird. Someone I went to high school with owns Freebird Cafe here. We didn't know each other in high school. She was 2 or 3 years behind me, but we went to the same high school in the Midwest, which is nuts. When I found that out, I was like, what? I actually happened to be friends with somebody that was friends with her, and she came up as a recommended friend. And I always hover over people because I'm like, do I know this person? And I saw that she was owner of Freebird Cafe in Chiang Mai, and I'm like, I've been there 100 times. They have this really good French toast, banana French toast plate. I like banana peanut butter French toast is what it's called. It's basically a piece of French toast with peanut butter and bananas on it. Pretty simple. And I went there a bazillion times. And then I was like, someone that I went to high school with owns that freaking cafe. So then this time when I was up here, I went and said hi to her. And but yeah, it just depends on what you like. I mean, I say this all the time. I'm an all of the above type of person. So I don't choose one or the other. I don't choose Pattaya. I don't choose Bangkok. I don't choose Chiang Mai. I don't choose Phuket. I like them all. It just depends on what mood I'm in. If I'm in the mood to be, what I really like, a lot of people like Pattaya for the nightlife. I've already mentioned this in here. I'm not really a nightlife person anymore. I just, for whatever reason, at some point I grew out of it. I don't fault people that don't grow out of it. Like, good for you, man. Live like you're 20 when you're 50 or 60. Like, dude, do you, man. That's awesome. Me, I like to get up early and go on hikes, stuff like that. What I really like about that area is there's a lot of military veterans there, and I just tap into that community. I mean, there's a freaking VFW there, for God's sake. So I like to tap into that. I don't know. There's just some kind of like camaraderie you have that military veterans have with one another, and so that's my biggest reason I like that area. Plus, you can get a pretty affordable beach condo in Jomtien with view of the ocean, gorgeous view, and you have access to the rest of Thailand through the little airport near Rayong. And so I really like it there. So when I want that feel, that's where I go. When I want a more younger crowd, digital nomads, coffee culture. I love coffee culture. I'm always drinking coffee. I come to Chiang Mai. And also when I want to do a lot of hikes. There's just some great hiking up here in northern Thailand. When I want to feel like I'm in New York City again, I go live in Bangkok. When I want to be able to get good Mexican food, I go live in Bangkok. When I want like that beach Hawaii sandal lifestyle, I'll go live on one of the islands like Koh Tao or even Phuket or Koh Samui. So yeah, it just depends on the mood that I'm in. It's really hard to have bad experiences in Thailand, or at least from my perspective. I haven't had a whole lot of bad experiences in Thailand. So they're all good experiences. What if someone had emailed you the exact same advice when you switched it over to Bitcoin? Fair point. If I missed your comment, I'm sorry. Funny story. I was in the Marine Corps in the 2000s. The Navy sent over a petty officer to cross train with us. He whooped us when it came to PT. Really pissed us off. That's funny. I mean, there's some Navy guys that are in really good shape. When I was in the Navy, I was running marathons, so I could run laps around most people. I did a marathon in Iraq. That's actually where I really started training hard for marathons. I was on Al Asad Air Base in Iraq, which is probably the safest place you could be in Iraq at that time. And they had a track there, and they ran the Al Asad half marathon, the Major McClung half marathon. She was the first female that died in combat in Iraq, and she died on that base. Actually, she got hit by a mortar fire, and so I was there during that, and then they did a full marathon, the Navy Marine Corps marathon. For those who don't know, The Navy Marine Corps Marathon is run all over the world, not just in DC. It's run in satellite locations. So I ran the Navy Marine Corps Marathon in Iraq. And yeah, I was in pretty good shape back then, running wise. I've always been able to do a lot of push-ups. I do 100 push-ups every day. That's been my routine for a long time. I get up in the morning, I do 100 push-ups. And although recently I had some shoulder issues, so I had to like pause it. I've got like a bad rotator cuff. When I was younger, I used to lift really heavy weights on ships, which is really stupid. And a couple times the ship had rocked when I was lifting and I hurt my shoulder really bad. And now my shoulder's like snap, crackle, and pop. So sometimes it becomes really painful to work. And lately it's been that way. So, but yeah, I mean, some guys in the Navy are in really good shape. Normally, when you put a Marine and a Navy guy together, the Marine's probably going to be in better shape. But a lot of the time, I mean, some people in the Navy, I mean, Navy SEALs are in phenomenal shape, most of them. But yeah, in the Navy, the standards are a little bit more lax. You can be a little bit more, you can be overweight, like, and get away with it in between PT cycles. You just have to slim down to every 6 months to get in standards. But in the Marine Corps, it ain't that way. Like, you have to be fit most of the time. Now, there are probably some Marines in different MOSs that might get a little bit unfit when they're on desk jobs. But for the most part, if you line in a Marine and a Navy guy, I'm not so proud I can't admit that the Marine is probably going to be in better shape in probably 99% of the time. But at the height of my running career, so I got loaned out to the Army for a year, but I was under the 2nd MEF, Marine Expeditionary Force in Iraq. The unit I was in was loaned out to the Army. I was loaned out to the Army. It's a bunch of Navy guys in Army uniforms. We went to Fort Jackson and did Army training for a little bit. And then they sent us to Al-Assad Air Base, Iraq, to basically be the mayors of the base, basically run the operations inside of the base. But we fell under the 2nd MEF. And I used to run 5Ks all the time. And the only guys that could beat the Navy guys were a couple Army guys. Most of the Marines couldn't beat us in 5Ks on that base. There was a lot of Marines on that base too. That's where they would operate out of. They would go outside the wire. We didn't go outside the wire. We stayed inside the wire, but we were in better shape than most of them from a running perspective because we were all training for marathons. Now in the weight room, they probably outlift us. I mean, I weighed back then when I was running marathons, I weighed like $105. But yeah, but most of the time, the Marines are going to be in better shape than the Navy guys in most situations. It's just the way it is. I mean, when a Marine goes on a Gator freighter, which is a Navy amphibious assault ship, the Marine, their only job is to work out every day. All they do is work out. The Navy guys have to do their real job. And so they don't really work out as much. They just eat and go stand watch. Where the Marines are like lifting weights through the whole deployment until we drop them off on the beach and they got to go do the hard work. But yeah. I'm trying to find a good Canadian credit card that has great lounge access. Yeah, I have the priority pass that comes with my Chase Sapphire Reserve. I love it. Like, I mean, that's one of my favorite bennies of it. I haven't been traveling around a lot, so I haven't got to use it as much. But before, when I was traveling all the time, I always used that benefit. Yeah, check out Urban Guitar Legend. I've never checked them out, but I'll check them out. Oh, Rome to Rio. Yeah, Rome to Rio is great. It's a great YouTube channel. When did that start? When did a train start from Bangkok to Pattaya? That has to be new. That has to be new. Have I ever had chicken Kiev? Yeah, I think so. I think I have. It was probably like in the Navy in a galley or something, so it probably wasn't like good chicken Kiev, but I have. Are you planning to head further south down to Krabi? Yeah, at some point. At some point, Nana. Jimmy was born on Christmas Day, 1946. Yeah, man, I love me some Jimmy Buffett, man. I love me some Jimmy Buffett. I used to have a license plate on my Jeep Basically, it was Parrot Head. I had to spell it like in a weird way. But in Virginia Beach, you could get Jimmy Buffett license plates too. So I had Parrot Head and the Jimmy Buffett license plates when I lived in Virginia Beach on my Jeep. What's the thinking with a Honda Element? Can you really be built out enough for some comfort? For me, Apple, I think so. I mean, I live in studio apartments. Small living isn't too small for me. My Travato was, I only used one bed in my Travato. It was probably too big for me. So for me, it would probably work. Did I start a gym here? No, because it was kind of a pain in the butt because of COVID. My next apartment has a really good gym, which I'm excited about because I need to get back in the gym, especially since I've been eating pizza at Duke's lately. I'm getting fat again. Like Americans, they don't like to go to Mexico. It's dangerous. I disagree. No, I agree. Like that's the media narrative, but in real life, I mean, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, which is like always in the top 10 most dangerous cities in the world. Like it's up there with like Mogadishu and like, places like that. So I don't really think Mexico's that dangerous compared to where I grew up. Yeah, Torres de, I think it's Pine. That's how you say it. I say Pañe, and people give me all kinds of crap about it because I think I'm speaking with a Spanish accent, but I'm really not. 30 and an earn up. I like it. 30 and an earn up. $10 in Bangkok challenge. Yeah. I mean, what is that? What would the challenge be? Like lodging too? So like, what would I see those videos and I'm always I watch them kind of like, yeah. I only like the ones where it includes everything. There we go. There's my friend Jody. I was talking about Jody earlier, if you guys remember. She's the one that lives on a sailboat full time with her family. She's been doing it for, 12 years now, 13 years, maybe more than that. And she's telling me how to say her vessel is actually, her boat is actually named after Torres de Paine. There we go, Paine. Torres de Paine. There we go. Because her boat is actually named Lehe Paine. I'm probably jacking. I'm terrible at that kind of stuff. Which is better, Vietnamese food or Thai food? I like them both. I don't like to pick which is better. I would probably say if you twisted my arm and made me pick only one, I'd probably pick Thai food. But one of the best places I've ever eaten in my life was this little hole-in-the-wall place in Vietnam. I have it marked on my maps here in Hanoi. They only serve one thing. The lady is rude as hell. The old lady that cooks it, it's rude as hell, but the food was off the chain good. And so if it was just one meal, it might be that. I think they have footage of you doing push-ups in one of your old videos. Yeah. Yeah. It was my video where I was in quarantine. It was like B-roll in the quarantine video. Someone said, I don't believe that you do that many push-ups. So I was like, okay, I'll show you. You cannot believe it. Push-ups aren't that hard when you do them, when you make them a regular part of your routine. My ADHD was on full display in the circular phrasing of that last comment. Welcome to my brain. Awesome. Anyone else buffering? Oh no, not buffering. So you didn't get burned in Iraq while he was running. The base I was on was a huge base, really easy to protect. Wasn't a whole lot of risk other than occasional like mortar fire that wasn't very accurate. I was really fortunate to be on a base that wasn't very dangerous. Now, the men and women that went outside the wire there is a different story because they would have to go. There was a town near us called Baghdadi, not Baghdad, Baghdadi, which is a smaller city out west. Al Assad Air Base is near the Syrian border, and I did go outside the wire a couple times, but not that much. Where the people who go outside the wire is a lot more dangerous. People lost their lives outside the wire because of IEDs and things like that. So outside the wire there was pretty dangerous, but I was inside the wire, inside the base. So it's a relatively easier base to defend than other bases, and so I wasn't super worried. What you were worried about there, to be honest with you, was wild dogs, and I did get chased by wild dogs a couple times. They do have these crazy looking hyenas there. You should see them, man. They're crazy. They're basically they're related to the African hyena, but they're more isolated and desolate. Actually, I'll show you some cool pictures. Let's see. So sometimes the hyenas would get inside the wire, but the hyenas didn't mess with people. But the wild dogs did. Let's see. I'm trying to pull this up here. All right. Hopefully this doesn't bore the crap out of people. But so. Sorry, I don't know why my mic keeps going out, but so this is a desert hyena, right? And they're pretty scary. But if my mic went out before I said this, they didn't really attack anybody. We were more worried about wild dogs. That's what you had to worry about there. But that's a desert hyena, and I'll show you a couple more pictures. So this was the base I was on. This is actually a crazy picture. So this is Al Assad Air Base right before a sandstorm hit. Sandstorms hit all the time there, and it was crazy. So when you're looking at this picture, I lived in one of these. We call them shoes. Actually, on the far right, you'll see like little trailers right there. On the very, very far right, lower bottom, that's actually where I lived. And these sandstorms would come in, and they were just brutal, man. They were nuts. But yeah, that's the base I lived on. But here's one more picture, and this is a hyena that was captured on the base. I believe this. Yeah, it definitely was. Let me show you here, because they would get inside the wire, which is the fence, and then they couldn't get out. And there were like multiple fences, so they would get caught in between the fences, and they could die because they can't get no food or water. And so there was actually like a humane society on our base that would go and get them and then release them back into the wild. But they're pretty vicious when you corner them. Obviously, this one's kind of bloody because it was trying to get itself out of the cage that it was captured in. But it was let go. Like that's it biting that. You can kind of see it's biting the wire on them. It's just trying to bite anything it can bite, right? It's scared to death probably. But that is a desert hyena that we had on that base. But you didn't really have to worry about them. They're not, they're scavengers. They don't want to eat. They don't want to take down big prey. Like humans are just too big. And but still scary fellas, scary looking fellas. But there's packs of wild dogs that would harass people on the base. So that's the only thing you had to worry about when you were running. I still didn't run with a gun, a sidearm, which was probably stupid of me, because I used to do a lot of morning runs there. and that's probably the worst time. But yeah, some people would run with 9 millimeters. I never did. I didn't like the way that felt. So. Oh, there, you hear some banging noise. Yeah, it's probably me like hitting the table. Sorry about that. Realistically speaking, can you keep a healthy diet and staying cheap while living in Asia? Absolutely, man. Um, the one thing you do have to worry about is MSG. Like, there's a lot of MSG, so you just have to shop around for that kind of stuff. But you can find food that's like doesn't have a lot of MSG in it as well. Have you been to Jimmy Buffett's island near Puerto Vallarta? No, I didn't even know he had an island, and I know a lot about Jimmy Buffett. I'm gonna have to look that up. I would definitely like to go to that. Hey, why are you tripping? What's going on? See, this is another reason you need to put up old chats in a folder so we can do super cuts of you doing stuff like trying to pronounce words. Yeah. How can you run in Iraq if it's hot there? Oh, I always ran in the morning. So in the desert, it's actually pretty cool at night and in the morning. It just gets hot during the day. So I used to run early in the mornings. Soup Nazi. When I lived in New York, I worked at 55th between 8th and ninth. No. Between 8th and 7th. And if you've ever been on 55th, that's where the Soup Nazi soup place is. The guy that supposedly it was based off of, used to work there. He doesn't anymore. But they used to have a lot of advertising about it, and I think they got a cease and desist letter. So they still kind of like hold themselves up as that, but they don't have the like all of the advertisement like they used to. But yeah, there's a little soup place right there, and I've had the lobster bisque from there. It's actually pretty good. And actually, I used to get soup there all the time. I used to coming home from work at night. It was open, and I would stop there and get a bowl of soup. That comes with this like some kind of bread that was really good. I don't even know what it was, but you could dip it in your soup, and it was really good. So, how's your weight loss? It's great, man. I've lost a little bit over 20 pounds. So, I'm 83 kilos, and I was up to like 95 or something like that. Yeah, I got to pay attention to my mic. Sorry about that. I ran 3K back in the day in Saudi Arabia during Operation Desert Shield. It was rather hot. Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, it can get hot. I would get up super early and go. The good thing is the military supports stuff like that. So we would actually, us guys training for the marathon, us guys and gals training for the marathon, a lot of us would run at the same time in the morning. And so they would actually provide a little bus to go. There would be a driver, and they would drive back and forth along the route to make sure we were okay, and give us water and things like that. And at the end of it, they actually had ice baths, so you could jump in this ice bath. But if you start early enough in the morning, even if you're doing a 3-hour run, it wasn't too bad. But if you started late, you were in trouble because it does get hot there and nasty. The marathon I ran took about 3.5 hours. And no, I'm sorry. I wish 3.5 hours. Took about 4.5 hours. about the 3.5 hour mark was about when I was hitting the wall, and it got super hot. It started getting really hot because I was running for so long that it started. Sun was up and all that kind of stuff. Started getting hot. Did I pet one? No, absolutely not. Yeah, I mean, normally, so by the time I was in Iraq, we had air superiority. So you weren't gonna, you weren't gonna get any air attack. Um, most of the trucks on the base I was on were like utility trucks. So those trucks are inside the wire. They're not going to go outside the wire. Those are like your plumbers. I mean, this base was like, it had 3 swimming pools. The base was one of Saddam's air bases, but it was also where he trained Olympic athletes. So there's a huge soccer field, an Olympic-sized running track, 3 Olympic-sized pools, and so there was a lot of. And then when you take over the base, why not keep the pools open, right? So sailors and Marines and Army and soldiers and airmen, Coast Guardsmen have recreation opportunities, right? So once you have a base like that, you bring all kinds of civilians on board, and you have plumbers, you have maintenance people, and they all drive around in little white trucks. Like, it's all inside the wire, so like it's not just they don't need to be camouflaged because they're not going outside the wire and fighting. But I mean, in those situations, we are normally going out to be seen anyway. It's not like it's at that point you're not trying to conceal yourself. You're actually like more of like a police force. So you're not trying to conceal yourself anyway. But I mean, the Humvees are obviously sand colored. But yeah, there's this one picture of a desert hyena. I wish I could find it. I used to have it, and it is like the most scariest picture. Um, they are like crazy looking. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that there are hyenas in Iraq, but again, they're different. They're more solitary than they're called striped hyena or something like that. They're more solitary than an African hyena. So it is fascinating. I didn't know there were hyena in the desert. I didn't know that Iraq had hyenas. I thought hyenas were in Africa, and that's it. So I learned that when I got there. What's the creepiest thing you saw in Thailand? Creepiest thing. So there's this little animal called the loris that you'll see in Thailand. A lot of the times people will come up and try to take pictures with you. With the loris, you shouldn't. One of the creepiest things I saw, like not in person, but pictures I saw. So the lorises are venomous mammals, and they're super cute though. So people can make money going out and taking pictures with them. But in order to make them not hurt people, they have to yank out all their teeth because they're poisonous. And so the most disturbing thing I ever saw were pictures of lorises having their teeth ripped out. And I always tell people, and I know some people disagree with this, and that's fine. Like we can disagree with it, and I'm fine with you taking a picture next to a tiger. Like I'm not fine with it, but I would tell you to think twice before doing stuff like that. The tigers get the tigers get drugged. That's how you can sit next to them, because if not, there's a chance they would maul you. And things like the loris, they rip out all the teeth. And so like I get it, man. Like when you're poor and you're trying to make money, if Western will pay, $5 for a Polaroid picture with a loris, I get it, but just understand, like it's good to understand that stuff, right? I'm not going to dog anybody that does it, but because I get it, but I don't know. I've got mixed emotions about it because the suffering of the animal, but I also understand, like, I mean, so anyway. Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing, bro? I would have blasted around into that. Maybe two, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to hurt you. Uh, the Humane Society on the base or whatever, they would go there. The animal control is what we call them, not Humane Society. Animal control, because a lot of times that base had a lot of animals like snakes, and so you'd have to call animal control to come get the like poisonous snakes and stuff. But sometimes hyenas get caught in between the multiple layers of fencing that you have on a base like that, and they can't get out. They get in and then they can't figure out how to get out, so they're stuck in between the fences, and they'll die because so the animal control goes and gets them. It's obviously those animals are probably scared to death, and so they're. But once they get them out, they actually go and release them back into the desert. So. Yeah, there's lots of preservatives in Thai food. Yeah, I mean, true that. A lot of sugar too. They put a lot of sugar in stuff. You can ask for no sugar though. It's hard to ask for no MSG, but you can ask for no sugar. Lots of devil dogs here in Thailand. Yeah, an unloaded catapult tends to make them scatter. Yeah. Supposedly, the building I'm going to be living in next month on Pratnak Hill, they're having some problems with dogs in the neighborhood. So, and I go out early in the morning to go for a walk, and I would even have problems sometimes with the beach dogs in the morning in Najam Tien. In the day, the same dogs, no problem. At night, I would, or when it was dark, when I would get up in the morning and go out on my morning walk, sometimes those dogs would be a little bit scary, a little bit more aggressive. So Saudi Arabia, they have a market at night because it's hot. Yeah, yeah, definitely. It was 5K, 3 miles or so, I think. Yeah, probably a 5K. That makes sense. Oops, what did I miss? Good vibes. Yeah, nothing but good vibes. If you go back to the beginning of the video, I talk about the 100 reasons, the pros and cons of Thailand. Now we're just into live chat. Have you talked to your boy Johnny? Yeah, man. He's posting a lot on Twitter and on and some videos on YouTube. Twitter is where you'll see most of his posts, and also Facebook a little bit, but mostly Twitter. He seems to be doing all right. He's right in the center of Kiev, so I mean, obviously, I'm rooting for him. So it sucks. What a bad situation that is. Iraqi hyenas are freaky looking. Yeah. You have a video where you explain why it's not a good idea for animal tourism. Yeah, I mean, and I'm not going to fault anybody. I've done it before too. And once you know about it, if you do it, I mean, that's on you. But I think it's smart to get educated about it though, and know, I mean, do most people know that those lorises have all their teeth ripped out in order for them to be able to be held and take a Polaroid with? Probably not. And most people probably don't know those lorises are venomous. Most people probably don't know that because they're so cute. I mean, look up loris. Look up loris right now. A lot of people think they're lemurs. They've seen what's that cartoon? They think they're lemurs, but they're not. They're lorises. They're a different animal. And yeah. They have these pygmy lorises too that are even small, that are super small, super cute, but they're also venomous. So, Yeah, so I wear between 12 and 12 and a half J, and it's always hard to find shoes in Asia. It's not super hard in like a place like Bangkok has big malls. You can find it, but hiking boots might be a little bit more difficult. I can like in Chiang Mai, I can never find shoes that fit me, and I wear 12 and a half. I don't have super big feet, but 12, 12 and a half. And yeah, I have a tough time finding shoes. Is it true that China is talking about invading Thailand? I doubt it. I mean, Thailand's one of the only places in the world that's never been colonized. Um, I mean, you might be getting Thailand confused with Taiwan. That's a possibility, but I've never heard of like China wanting to invade Thailand. Probably you're probably thinking of Taipei, Taiwan. It's probably what you're thinking of. Okay, now I want a super cut of you completely earnestly saying things like true dat. How much are instant noodles? Instant noodles? I mean, pennies. Pennies. I had a problem with dogs in Bali. Yeah. I mean, so the thing about Buddhist culture is like, they're not going to kill the dogs. But God, I wish they'd at least neuter them so the problem will go away in, 10 years, in a decade. Just neuter and spade them at least. I know they're not going to kill them because of karma and religious beliefs and stuff, but they're not going to euthanize them. Man, it's a problem. I never knew the loris was venomous. Yeah, they're venomous. I don't know how like toxic the venom is. Google it. Here, Smithsonian says a bite from a loris is no joke. They have glands underneath their armpits that ooze noxious oil. And when they lick the glands, their saliva combines with the oil or with the oil to concoct the venom. It fills into their grooved canines, and they deliver a grisly bite strong enough to pierce through bone. It says they're deadly. I mean, it says they're many types of slow loris can secrete venom, but the venom is not toxic to all species. Bites from a slow loris can be extremely painful and known to cause illness and death in humans. So there you go. So yeah, I mean, yeah, just be careful. Like, maybe they don't. I mean, I'm assuming maybe they remove those glands too. I don't know, but I don't know. Do I still want to go to Russia? I really do want to take that train across Russia, but I probably wouldn't now. So, yeah. And I don't mean now, like at this moment. I mean now because of what they're doing. I probably wouldn't. I probably won't in the future unless things politically change for them. I'm retiring from the Navy in a couple of years for a total of 30 years. I only did 20, man. Good on you, man. What year did you come in? I came in '94. I went to boot camp in Great Lakes. Company 091. I only say that because we might have came in about the same time, because I would have how many years would I have in right now? I'd be like 20. I'd be closing in on 30. 2022. Yeah, I'd be at 28. 20? I don't know. Thank you for your very informative videos. Love them. Thanks. Yeah, I did a little bit over 20, just a couple months over 20. Would I ever hold a tarantula? I have held one. Would I have one as a pet? No. Kevin, have a nice rest of the live stream. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Gator Jake, for stopping by. They may have used it to transit, but they never. Thailand's one of the only kingdoms that's never been colonized, and maybe they had a puppet government or something like that. But they have the longest continuous sovereignty or something like that. I came in 1994 too. Great Lakes arrived in April, so you came in before me. I went there in November. So yeah. You went there when it was all male. They were just starting to integrate females in when I came there into that boot camp. Before, females only went to Florida for boot camp, and then they closed Florida and San Diego down. And so I went to Great Lakes, probably because I'm from Missouri and it's close. Great Lakes, Illinois, for those who don't know. And then in 2003, I came back there in push boots. So I pushed boots there as well until 2007. Best job of my Navy career. All right, I think we're going to call this a live stream. We're at 3 hours. That's a little bit long for a video I want people to watch later to hear my pros and cons, which are the first half hour of this video. So thanks everyone who stopped by, said hi. Thanks for the super chats, the new channel member. Appreciate it. Thanks to all the moderators for doing God's work, and thoughts and prayers with people in Ukraine. Hopefully they make it another night.